Welcome everybody. This is Evelyn. It's 10:26 on the clock. The 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. The 26 is the Page of Wands, the Lion's Heart. And I have two of my messages of the day as well as the 7-deck read on the table. The 4 decks are being used today. Journey of Love, Metatron, Nature's Whispers, and Shaman Dreams. That's the 4-deck read. I have two of those. And then again, like I said, the 7-deck read on the table for the Twin Flames. And we're going to take a few deep breaths first. If you'd like to, you can follow along with me. I've been guided to pull in that purification light when you breathe in through your crown. Wrap it around your heart. And then let it diffuse out into your body, your legs, your arms, your head. And then out to your auric layer. And then visualize it going back up. So this is coming in as the ether, right? Changing the air into ether as it flows through your heart. Because it's coming in as ether. Flow through your heart and then out through your body, your auric layer, and then back up. Light up, back to source. So let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths as you're guided to do. If you want to use another color, whatever you're guided to do, follow your own instincts. Take a deep breath. Another deep breath. One more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here with me. So I'm going to start with the message of the day, the 4-deck read from the 20th and then the one from yesterday. And then we'll go into the 7-deck read, which is more fun, more light energy, more actually 3D energy. So let's go ahead and roll the die first. For the Twin Flames, today is October 22nd, so the 22nd was significant. When I looked at the clock first, when I was about to start the read, and then I forgot I had to do a few things, it was 10:22, which is the Wheel of Fortune, and the 22 of the Fool and the Fool's Journey with an open heart, taking a leap of faith. But it also is 10:22 today, so that was very significant regarding the 22, as it is 2022 as well. For the Twin Flames, October 22nd, 2022. Okay, so we have the Sun here, and that's Leo. We have the 11 of Justice, which is also Libra, alignment, truth, and balance. It also is November going into Scorpio. And then we also have Sagittarius here. Okay, and the Archer. So again, and this is coming up as Lionsgate and Sagittarius and 11 coming up in between. And when you use the 13 signed astrological chart with a Ophiuchus, Scorpio is only a week. And I'm getting the reference of that, the message and energy of that, as that balancing. And it comes up as the last week of November, which is usually Thanksgiving. So it's that week of Thanksgiving, and aligning Lionsgate with Sagittarius, or I always get Centaur Gate as well for 12/12. So again, aligning 8/8 and 12/12, perhaps with 11/11 here, or the last week of November at Thanksgiving. Libra, Leo. So Leo is fixed, Libra is cardinal, and Sagittarius is mutable, so very well balanced there. Okay, so first, oh, if you haven't seen any of my pictures too, my little blue jays from the past few days keep showing up, and he's so funny. He's like looking in my window, seeing at first he was looking in my window to see if the coast was clear to make sure it's okay to eat the seed that I left out for them. But then he was coming back at my window asking me for seed. He literally, when there's no seed left, was standing at my pot right there outside the window asking me to put more seed out. So it was really cute. So here he's so funny. He's just right outside my window there that I'm looking at. So funny. He's so cute. And then he goes diving in for the seed. And then he was giving me his butt. So this is that first read. Okay. And this was done on the 20th. Doesn't matter the day it was done. If you've come to the message today, then it is for you. So that went close up for you automatically. I didn't mean to do that. So we have the underlying energies over here, the piles that I have to count for each deck over here, and then I pulled 3 cards for each deck. So notice what's there today. I mean, from this read, the one from yesterday, all 4 piles came out number 3. So some very significant messages there. So again, this is Journey of Love, Metatron, Nature's Whispers, and Shaman Dreams at the bottom. All were dealt three cards the way they came out. And then whatever cards came up after that in the pile at the end. So you can see them pretty well there. I'm going to bring them up a little bit closer anyway, so you can see them a little bit better. Okay. All right, let me bring that back too. Okay. All right, so this one was on the 20th, which that day was the 20th Judgment, and the day added up to 36, which is the 10 of Wands, the Atlas energy. So that Atlas energy along with Judgment, so kind of a heavy day perhaps on the 20th. And today's Saturday, so that was Thursday. So yeah, and the Blue Jay was here at least the past 3 days in a row. I forget when I first told you the Blue Jay came around. But I did this first read at around 9:41 to 46, somewhere in there, which is all the Ace of Cups, 2 of Cups, 3 of Cups, 4, 5, 6 of Cups. So very much that cup, heart-based energy, with the 9 of the Hermit, the 1 and the All. And the 4 piles that came up in this read were 3, 4, 1, and 2. Very much the order of the spiral again, going up from the 3 to the 4, but then, rotating back around like a retrograde back to the 1 and then coming up to the 2 again. And that's a big leap, because usually I'll go back 2 when they show me this reference of the spiral, but here it went from the 4 back to the 1. So you may be feeling it more, the retrograde, or when you go through the down curve of the spiral, going back up to 2. So still not feeling up to snuff of the 3 where you started from. The spiral of the Empress, the Emperor, the Magician, and the High Priestess of abundance, and you notice it's 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. Shut the door. The abundance and control, manifesting psychic abilities of the Empress and the Emperor putting on a show. The earth and its people, the mother, the heart, the stone, the love, the soul, and the God, the central sun, the Father, the mind, the sword, the light, and the wisdom. The Emperor's son sharing his rays, and the earth's mother core, the womb, heart, moon, daughter, gains her independence to reflect back at the sun, to see himself in the way he projects, without the earth's phased array intermingling with him, right? Being able to see his side of it without reflection by his other self, just seeing his half of it. So the mother's daughter allows him to see another side of himself with no power structure, more of an equal to him, right? Exactly the same, like a soulmate type of energy, being very much the same as you, as opposed to the opposite side of the coin of the earth and the central sun. So very interesting too. Cation came up this morning. I was listening to one from last night that I hadn't finished because it was a long one, but talking about the fact that the Mother Nature is the field, and also talking about our origins of, we were already mammals 200,000 years ago, but we were seeded 200,000 years ago by source energies, with the Pleiadians teaching us what we have been upgraded with at that time. So Cation said it took from 200,000 years to 52,000 years to get to the place of being Lemuria. But that we weren't left like with Adam and Eve with no help. We were left with masters to teach us. We had no books to learn this new library we were just upgraded with. And he said the library was the downgrade, or the upload of the seeding, was all about discernment of light and dark, and now being able to understand beauty and all those kind of things, you know, being given this Akashic record, so to speak, this library, but without books, but with people or masters to teach us about it. And it's 10:38 on the clock, which today is the energy of the 38. So that's significant because that's the Queen of Cups and the Mary Magdalene energy. So the 3412 came up, and I looked it up in the Gematria. And the first entry was, but the meek will inherit the land and delight in abundant prosperity. And I'll give you the name of that Cation episode when I get to today's reading. I have it written down there. The second entry here was particle beam weapons base Taurus mount entrance to U.S. base Archimedes, Archmidedes. The third entry was the cenotaph with a C, cenotaph, and the commemorative flame in Victoria Park, Loxotron, Keith, and Lonsdale. The next entry was you hate anyone with power. And the fifth entry was Erev Rav Haim Dinovitz, which is, he's a French rabbi. And the Erev Rav is evening or eve. So it's literally referencing the evening of becoming a rabbi with the Rav. And this was a French rabbi that was being referenced. Or in other words, the students last year of studies right before they become a rabbi. It also means mixed multitude, or mixed of many or great, was the Rav. So the eve, like the sunrise and the sunset, and this is the message I was getting from it. Eve, like the sunrise and sunset, even out the sun and moon playing field, right? So they polarize, the sun and moon polarize, but the sunrise and sunset are the midpoints here of the day, the mid-moon and the mid-sun cycles, the evening out of the playing field. As I just told you, Mother Nature is the field. So the sixth entry here was Cedrus labani is a species of cedar native to the mountains of the Mediterranean region. The seventh entry was a joy, MYKHYN, date code way. And I didn't look up that, but you can look that up if you'd like. And again, there were two words, MYK and then HYN, the date code way. And then number 8 was I'm getting confused about what he wants from me, which I wanted to bring up that message for sure, because you may be feeling that right now. You're feeling collective energies. I am not nervous, but last night and this morning my stomach was feeling nervous. So that can be the collective, it can be your twin. So be present to the fact that that's not you, and to just send love to those energies that are uncomfortable in your body. The 9th entry here was, where's the fake whistleblower? And number 10 was, congratulations. Not congratulations. I'm not sure what C word I wrote there. Oh, corporations. Corporations control all the water in the world. That was number 10. Number 11 was rainbow evolution cleanses humanity's hate. Number 12 is Ta Love Rav. And it was coming up as a Ukrainian player as well as a Czechoslovakian player, a center back. Maksin, M-A-K-S-Y-N, I'm not familiar, but you may be. Number 13 was Behold my servant, who I have chosen. Number 6. And again, the one before that was coming up as a footballer, so I guess soccer. Number 13, Behold my servant, who I have chosen. Number 6. And that footballer, his birthday came up 6/28/2000. And of course, number 6 is love, and also the spiral, which I started out this read with. So from the spiral again, 3, 4, 1, 2, also can be 3, and then 4, 1, and 2. The Empress loves the High Priestess. And then 34:12, which is arrows of love and wisdom. So at 10:28, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Twin Flames, the Two of Wands, the Choice of Path, the underlying energies from the 4 decks were 31, 22, 36, and 54. And beneath that was the Christ flame of 31 and the cosmic butterfly of 36. Under the chaos of life of Archangel Sandalphon, who's with you now on the Fool's Journey, with Atlas, intuition, the intuit connection, the twin towers of you and I, of twin towers to twin flames connection, the twin digamma rays, the twin tower of destruction or of enlightenment in opening of the crown, the quote-unquote brain on fire of Esther Williams and Saint Dolphin taking a break. And right at that moment, it was very much me and my daughter's doggy, Teddy. The Saint Esther Williams and Saint, by the way, my middle name is Esther, so there's that reference for you. So Esther Williams with Saint Dolphin taking a break, synchronized swim, and Lyran music. Funny that Lyrans came up as the Chiron, and Lemuria came up. But synchronized swim and Lyran music, where angels and Atlas fear to tread, carrying the 3rd flame across the alchemist's bridge. The Page of Swords, Universal Mercury, is to achieve magician embodiment, the 60 instant manifestors of love and light distinction. The God Creator Source, love light spark with twin flames, Saint Dolphin with a map, a lay of the land. You notice that Saint Dolphin or Sandalphon, I always call Sandalphon Saint Dolphin, which is a reference here. And again, the dolphins in Lemuria. Saint Dolphin with map and lay of the land. You notice Saint Dolphin or Sandalphon include Do and Phi, which reflects itself, the explosion or the implosion, the expansion or contraction or reflection in the middle. And then the letter N, lowercase n for me, is Jesus. The capital N is Christ. And then the San, which is saint, and the sand of the land or the path, and the Dal, D-O-L, the dolphin, and the P-H-O-N, which equals a unit of loudness, 1,000 hertz tone decibels, equals F-O-N, which is to capture, seize, receive, or accept. From phone to beat, pummel, mash, thrash, pierce, first layer basis or foundation, the fool, the idiot, the chieftain or king, to melt, cast, mold, or waste away, bottom, forehead, to pin, weave, or to spin rather, to weave, braid, and pleat. A wind that blows dry, or a wind that blow dries, especially the Swiss North Alps, as the wind comes down the north side of the Alps. The font, the hair dryer, and P-H-I-N, which equals Batiste, which also means coffee filter, or it's a fine cloth used to wipe at baptism. but the beating of the heart, pounding repeatedly, the whip overcome to coin a word. Remember, coin is another way of spelling Kohan, and we're talking about word. It's a Kohan experience there. To beat, hit, bat, and then DOL is sorrow and pain, grief, mourning. Black clothes. Dolls is a measurement for pain. To hurt, crazy, silly, mad, mindless, reckless, irate, stripped, turning without gripping inflection. And then THOLE dash pin, which is a nautical pin, a rowlock or oar lock, and the T hole comes up with pin, references my pin example of how we collect energy from the sun as the feminine and cycle it through to the masculine to create a vacuum with the housing. And then when the masculine starts to use up the energy, then the pin falls open again for the feminine to collect the sun again. The doll also means a fraud, cheating, to fool around, frolic, play, tomfoolery, to mess with, to stun, to rage, to lift and dig up, to lift and turn with a rake, the mast, which is support, or that pole with a flag, loose, like a loose screw, or to reckon, calculate, and loop, as we talked about the spiral. The noose, the snare, to ensnare, net, trap, cast, haul, turn, batch, lot, group, contingents, number, amount, part, share, deal, foolish, to sell, small valley, dale, and downwards. So at 10:57, with the wheel and the 3 of swords, the loudness of the fool's beating heart, the saint's or the fool's beating heart, a dry wind looping, spiraling, and weaving through the mountains and the valleys, to seize or receive without the mind, to waste away in the foundation and the forehead of pain and rage, of frolic and play, to lift up and go down and turn, to deal and sell, to group, part, and share, to dig up and cover up, mast, support, or net, snare, and cast. And was the net to catch, or was it a trap? A fine cloth used to quote-unquote coin, batiste, to pound repeatedly, or to breathe into that beating heart. Whether silly or crazy, fraud or reckoning, or a screw loose, a filter for pain and sorrow, Cain and Abel, sugar and spice, and the ability to think twice, or not at all, or all, AWL, the whole, with a W, of the thole dash pin, or the hole in your heart. Bless your heart, as the church lady came up, and Lady Liberty at 11:16, which is Justice and the Tower. And there's Lady Liberty, Justice and the Tower. So the church lady's coming up, and Lady Liberty, bless your heart. But they weren't saying bless your heart in a sarcastic way. It was bringing up the church at 11:16 of justice, alignment, and truth and balance, and the 16 of the imbalance of the tower that throws things off, the sudden events, whether good or bad. And the church that came up, that church is CH and CH with UR in the middle. And it was very significant for me because I grew up, I'm actually on the other side of Church Road. I grew up on a street off of Church Road. And actually the other side of my street I grew up on was Township, which becomes Church Road. So literally I was in between church and church. They were just called by 2 different names. And literally Church Road ends up at a church, and the other end, a long ways away from here, was also a church. So again, it was this path between the churches of CH and CH with UR in the middle. So belonging, church means belonging to the Lord, the ruler, to swell, spread out, prevail, and be strong. Assembly or congregation, to educate or celebrate. Cryon brought up that word celebrate today as well. And I was going into educate in yesterday's read at the end of yesterday. So to educate or celebrate, express strong agreement. So again, a place of commonality, of people who think the same way to come together. The CH is Kash. And notice that's the sound of Akashic records. But Kash is the hyperbolic cosine. The chain that's 22 yards, by the way, which today is 22, but this was done on the 20th. The channel, I and EA for each. HP for horsepower, and of course Mr. Ed. So the hyperbolic cosine is exaggerated cosine. The hyperbolic cosine of 0 equals 1. So there's that 0, 1 reference. It has two fixed points joined by a line mapped to itself by translation. So again, yourself reflecting yourself with teachers in the middle, the translation in the middle. A negative curvature or sectional curvature. And then you are is you are or your. It also means ember, rain, and tumor, which has been coming up as two more. Juice, water, hazelnut, woman, wife, clock, watch, scree, how, timepiece, very, really, border, edge, margins, one, and a terrain of large falling rocks, the rolling stone, the rain cloud, the cold breeze, the auroch or bison, the drizzle, out of or from. So it literally came up as the CH of the 2 points on either side with what you are in the middle. So remember, CH, one of the definitions for CH is I. So I is coming up as the two pillars on either side, which a line is actually two dots, right? And you fill in the gap there. Let me just make it a little bit clearer. Okay. So these were all the definitions that came up of you are. And then the two pillars on either side of the I am and I am, the map of each other through decoding on this side, and this side is I channel, the horse's power, or Mr. Ed, that energy for source. You are I, you are I. So it's like talking to yourself. That's the word church. And you are in the middle. And again, the altar is coming up, which is all throne. Tar is throne. 309, which also references the high road, and 1. So this is church, the space between you and I, or I and I, the altar, right? Because the I is the altar, it's the 1. So leaving the wounded warrior's path for the alchemist and angel's journeys, the universal Mercury messenger via the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and then via the elements. So the ether comes down through the vapor of the universal Mercury messenger, through the masculine and the feminine, via the elements on earth, which then ether encompasses all of this, the divine masculine and all 4 elements. Elementary, my dear Watson, 1. So again, my dear, Watson references the electric sun and the 1. Elementary, my dear Watson, 1. My dear one of Watson. So 1138, which is alignment of truth and balance, the 34 of the Empress and the Emperor, but also the 8 of Wands, the energetic exchange and arrows of love. And the first thing came up in this underlying energy of the arrows of love is Atlas and Altar. The Atlas, number 36 of the 369, and the Altar, which is the 9. You see how that goes together. The 9 of the 1 and the all, and the ending of compassion, the altar being, right, the ultimate place to go to, and the Atlas being the maps on how to get there. From Atlas Mountains to Lady Liberty, the 3rd flame, and the 6-9 pod, right, when you put 6 and 9 together, it becomes the 8 pod, with free range to the etheric altar, where 3 reflects the E and becomes the 8 as well in the pod, as the 8 as well. So remember, the 3 is part of the rolling stone. The 3 is the W, the E, and the M. It's the same shape rolling over and over again. 3, E, M, and W are all the same letter. So the free range to the etheric altar, and they also were bringing this up, the energy of looking at your knuckles with your hand closed in a fist. You see, and it always reminds me of my grandmother Yaya, because she had a really big middle knuckle from her arthritis. So Yaya is coming up here as well as the knuckles. And by the way, knuckles came up in a definition as well. I think that was from yesterday. So if you think of the shape of the knuckles, it's like the mountains and valleys, right? The peaks and valleys. Some mountains and knuckles are bigger than others. They hurt more from arthritis or swelling, saying that the mountains do too. The bigger they are, the more they are hurting from swelling. And then at 11:42 here, the blue jays were yelling at me outside. And they're the ones who kind of sound like crows, but it's a much lower tone or lighter tone than the crow's voice. At 11:42, which is the 11 of truth and balance and alignment, and the 42 of the 2 of cups of connection. And so E369 came up as the E3 becomes the 8 when you push them together, and the 6-9 become the 8 when you push them together, that 8 dance. So the only things that came up regarding the E369 was an agricultural experiment station. It's New Jersey, AES, Rutgers.edu. And there was an article regarding climate change impacts on New Jersey's marine fisheries. So as the sea warms, the molecules become further apart and the glaciers melt. So since 1880s, our ocean has gone up around the world from 8 to 9 inches. And New Jersey land is also shrinking due to sinking or subsidence. And by 2050, it's estimated that the New Jersey water will have risen another 1 to 3 feet. And by 2100, another 5 feet, with the acidity increasing due to the carbon dioxide. The E level of 369 is normal immunoglobulin as well, where at the E level, if the immunoglobulin E, which remember E is also 1 equal and congruent to, equals the normal range of the E immunoglobulin, it's 6 to 495. So it's coming up as 369 being normal immunoglobulin E. And then Borg-Warner S369SX came up -E, which is a turbocharger or a turbine wheel. So that may be a significant turbine wheel. At 11:57, which is, again, justice and alignment, the 57 of the 3 of swords, the 36 comes up of the cosmic butterfly, or the cosmic map of transformation, with the 40 of the page of cups and the void, the innocent heart, the sweet heart, and going within, the 53 of the knight of swords, and the legacy of light of the divine masculine, the 31 of the Christ flame, and the chaos of that, the old way, the wounded warrior, and the war of chaos, and the Atlas innocent heart, the sweet heart, the Knight of Swords messenger of truth, mapping out the truth, and the bridge of all in one by weaving the pages back together again. So again, the page of wands came up in the page of cups, which many times comes up as the masculine and the feminine hearts, the sweet heart and the lion's heart coming together. At 12:01, which is the hanging man and the magician, with the 67 of the Knight of Pentacles, the swan, the loyal humble servant, the 15 of the mother who's still praying, and the 59 at the temple. And remember, the 59 is the 5 of swords, the war within, but here it's coming up as the temple, right? Your body is a temple. The loyal humble servant whose shadow mother still prays for him at temple. And this is coming up as temperature, temple. So temperature, this, or his temperature, or his temp, like a temporary person. Like the mother is his temp, always available whenever he needs them, right? The Knight of Pentacles shadow war within his temple. So altar, remember altar is A-L and then T-A-R, which is the bridge of the throne, the bridge of all and one. And under Atlas, and broken down into Atlas, the las is the joint, the articulation, to light, to blaze, tired forest, may and weld, lace him. So again, the articulation of lacing the two pages back together. To not mind, to give up them, to let, allow, drop, and leave. Them you all. Also hair and the map to lace back together after surrender. And salmon came up as well, which was interesting because in 7 pounds she had bought him a pink shirt and she said it wasn't pink, it was salmon, that color of skin, you know, as opposed to pink. It's coming up as compassion, because you remember why he was there, taking care of her, and then he fell in love with her. So altar and Atlas came up very significant here, with the church versus the temple at 1235, the hanging man and the wounded warrior of the 9 of Wands. Again, this is Jesus facing himself. 12 is the hanging man and 35 is the wounded warrior. The church versus the temple, right? The Jew versus a new way. The mother who prays, or mantis being, the Christed flame at Lady Liberty's temple. You see there's room for all, ending the war within. Christ Jesus and Mother Mary, to see her Jewish son with Mary Magdalene, the Christian Mary Magdalene, the 3 cards of the Empress, the Emperor, and the Trinity. To try a show of power and gratitude, that's Trinity. Mother Earth, and Cryon just said Mother Earth is the field. As the 52, as we talked about Lemuria at 52,000 years. The 52 is the Queen of Swords, the Lady of Light, Lady Liberty, receiving the light in the presence of the wise ones, as I just talked about the seeding of the humans at 200,000 years ago, and not becoming Lemuria until 52,000 years ago, because they had to learn what they got downloaded with. So in the Queen of Swords receives the light in the presence of the wise ones, or the 9, the one and the all. The compassion, and the 14 card here of falling, light as a feather, the angelic one. Okay, so the angelic one's guiding, the 6 of the lovers, and there's that spiral again, of the angel of Jupiter awakening, as the Queen of Swords angel of Jupiter awakens. Lady Liberty, Ellis Island, where Ellis is land, and lovers floating together with space between. So again, Lady Liberty and Ellis Island, which I brought up their numerology the other day of how they go together. And here they're coming up again. As the Queen of Swords angel of Jupiter awakens, the Lady Liberty of Ellis Island awakening, the lovers floating together with space between. She receives the light and he keeps it light. And by the way, the island is very significant here because in the last episode of Cryon, or it might have been this one, he talked about the fact that we have Atlantis wrong, because Atlantis just means many islands that we did live on that went under. But they were all islands, right? When the island would go down, we'd have to find a new island to go to. And there's that reference of Atlantis there. So she receives, and notice that Atlantis, that New York is on the Atlantic Ocean, and the altar of Atlantis is above the Statue of Liberty in the etheric realms. She receives the light and he keeps it light. The twins of another mother, the 52/7 and the 44/8 and the 15/5 and the 6. So it's coming up as the 2 different people, the 52/44, which is the Queen of Swords. We already established that 52 and 44 are both her. The 52 of the Lady of Light and the 44 of the social worker, right? The Atlas with the weight of the emotional world on their shoulders. And then the 14/5 of the angelic, the temperance card of patience and balance, and the 6 of love, family, and community. The quiet before the storm, or the Atlas dance, heaven on earth, as the angel dances on air, or the angelic twins. They are the quiet before the storm, the Atlas dance, right? The map dance, which is maps are also keys on how to do things, how to travel. Heaven on earth as angel dances on air, or the angelic twins. The 52 and 14 plus 6 equals 66 plus 6, which is 66 plus 6 is the 3 sixes, but it's 66 and 6, which is also 18, 9, which 52, 14 plus 6 equals 72/9. So again, referencing the 72 by 2, 9, and the 18, 9 of the moon, or the purple moon, the 0-point field, and the 2 by 2s. And then came up 71, 28, and 99. The 71 of the 3 of Pentacles, the co-creation, the 28 of the twin flames, and then the 99 of that, that's the, as I lose my voice, right? Because 99 is never quite getting to 100%. It's the ultimate, it's the exponential compassion, off the chart of source. At 1252, being the hanging man now, and the 52 of the Queen of Swords, the Lady of Light, co-creating twins of compassion now. So before there was a seeding and then a download of Lemuria, which was a very compassionate time at 52,000, so recreating Lady Liberty as the Queen of Swords in the Divine Feminine. At 1252 then, which is again the Hanging Man and the Queen of Swords, the underlying energy, the first card up here was 52 of the Queen of Swords, and the second was 25, the reflection of the 52, compassion. And by the way, 52 and 25 kept coming up for me all day, like yesterday and the day before. The 52 of the Queen of Swords, the 25 of compassion. Remember, 2 and 5 are the only numbers in block style that reflect itself exactly. The Queen of Swords of Light and the Passion, and then the 54 of the Universal Mercury came up, which is Lilac, and the 22 of the Fool, which is Archangel Sandalphon here in this deck. So the 52 of the Big Bird, which is also the 44, the quarter, which can reference 25, with rainbow body and wings as the Knight of Wands, who is 25, fires up the heart, the engine, the capital N, and Jinn. Like, I'm getting Jinn Rummy now, but I was also getting the wheel, the Jinn wheel. Like Gandhi's threading wheel as well, the sewing wheel. So the Jinn, like a water Jinn or a cotton Jinn, something to weave the Christ energy with, the unity consciousness energy, the engine. With a love for life, the universal Mercury, the castle on cloud 9, the 0-point field, the co-sign waving along the path of light up on St. Dolphin's fool's journey, with an open heart and a leap of faith, where faith is the capital F of digamma and the 8th of an oath, the digamma oath, the twin flame promise or covenant. The 52-25 and the 22, as the 25-22 came up yesterday, meaning the 19th, and then the Knight of Wands journey, which is the 25-22, to the 52 of the Queen of Swords, Lady Liberty, the Lady of Light. The first card out here is the 11 of the alignment of truth and balance, and the wake-up call and the tone with St. Dolphin's music to back it up. So she's toning or singing, and he's music to back it up. The 55 of the root shaman here with the flute and truth, and you notice there's 3 musical instruments all in a row here. The number 11 card had the voice, and then to St. Dolphin 22, which is the music or instrument to back it up. And then at the root shaman, the 55, is the flute and the truth, with the angelic keys of wind chimes, like dust in the wind. And I was at a childhood friend of the mother I used to babysit for, and these children who ended up being one of my brother's best friends. And we were visiting her, and she's 80 years old, and she looks great. But she had these beautiful wind chimes out back. The tone of the chimes were just so angelic. And that's what was reminding me here. So we have the voice and the instruments to back it up, and then the shaman with the flute and the truth, and the angelic keys of the wind chimes like dust in the wind. So you see the orchestra developing here. The harp, the voice, and the flute. They just need to choose a key to play in. And that came up in Cryon the other day as well. And Crayon's very appropriate for Cryon because it's very much about the child at play. I think it was Cryon who said, you just need to pick a key in which to play in. That is the boundary, the only boundary, to set them daily, to listen and take note and tone from the earth and the angelic realms at 104, which is also 10-4. Message received. And the 1 of the magician and the 4 of the emperor. So the blue jays were out eating my seeds, as we talk about seeds and seeding the human. One song, or I sang, I was right at that moment, I sang after we were talking about the different keys. I was singing high pitches and low pitches to Teddy to see how he'd react to it, and scales for Teddy. And then I stretched, and he liked the tones. There were 4 cards that then came out. The Emperor is the number 4 in structure, and then the 8 card came out of dancing with flame in hand and keys and toning. Holding the red root and the purple crown to lead the way and answer the call. So again, referencing the root and the crown like the 2 CHs of the church, and you are in the middle, between. You are the road between, the journey, the path. Then the 2 of the high priestess, of the horsepower, HP is horsepower in the purple moon, of Mr. Ed, and time out needed as the silver warrior of light arrives out of deep emotions, as good always triumphs just to the light of bad. In the TF, or Twin Flame 28, and the 30 of Union, the flame and keys, the sword and the stone, the aim and the ease come up from flame and keys, or the intent and the ease, the word and the tone. With easy pass, you don't need a map. You just need aim and ease, word and tone, and phone home with finger of God. And that came up in a series that came up. I mean, it was a movie, right? Good versus evil, where they get sent away to a school for good and a school for bad who are across from the river from each other. So that references this very much. And how they bridged across between the two. It was a very cute movie, actually. Maybe the name will come up here. It should in my notes. So at 1:15 of the 1 of the magician and the 15 of the shadow, to communicate and speak and be heard. In the 30 and the 5, which 3 and 5 equals 8. 5 and 8 are greased lightning. But 30 is the home, 5 is the freedom, and 8 is the dance. So the home and the freedom, which are basically polarities, right? Because home can be a prison if you allow it to be. And freedom can be the home as well. But again, it switches back and forth between outside and the home, freedom and home. Which one is home for you? Because they can both be both. Again, the masculine and feminine. And the dance where it takes 2 to be heard, even from you to your higher self. The flame and the sword romance, where land meets sky, or land meets sea meets sky, the Sophia KY, meets the I am presence in the heart. Then the conch shell came up, where the conch is the semidome of an apse, or the apsis, APSIS. The arch, the vault, I bind, I join. The altar, or the bishop's throne, the semicircular projections, the half. At 124, which is the Magician and the Queen of Wands, which is also Omega, the enlightenment at your crown, where conch also means to refine chocolate by warming and grinding, the concher, or between rollers. Nearest and the furthest point for a body in orbit. So again, the conch is the arch, so any definitions that follow with arch reference the conch shell as well. And also abscess, ABSCESS, also that kind of abscess also came up, which is a sac with fluid in it, the result of infection. Or in a church, when there's too many people wanting to come, you have to expand, so then the altar becomes the semicircle, it gets pushed out like an addition. And that's when my daughter actually came home at that moment. So they're always like confirming everything with other things going on around you. At 141, which is the Magician and the Ace of Cups, the Holy Grail, the underlying energy for the next deck was the 3 of celebrating your differences, with the 38 of the Queen of Cups and acceptance of love, and the 47 of the 4 to 7 sweet spot, the heart to the crown, and in numbers, the middle, just left of the middle, or just light of the middle. The 47 is synchronicities and choices and the laughter of children on their avatars, excited to play on the clouds and thunder roll. Mother and child, man and woman, and the little imps playing multiple kinds of relationships here, with the 3 of the Empress, the mother, the 38-11 of the Queen of Cups with vision, the 47-11 and all the others, and the 36, then there's yourself. Atlas and intuition, so it's coming up as the mother, the daughter, and all the others. So these are different kinds of relationships, right? The relationship with your mother, the relationship with your wife or your sister, and then there's all the others after that, all the friends and other people in your life. And then the 36 of the Atlas energy, and then there's yourself carrying the weight of the world. Of Atlas and intuition, the intuit connection of you and I, the twin tower of you and I, the soulmates and lovers, the friends and self, with the weight of the world on how to balance all that. Remember to laugh with everyone, including you and your higher self. Celebrate, accept, laugh, intuit. Okay, celebrate, and celebrate was coming up as a big word for cry on this morning as well. And cry on, remember to purge. Celebrate, accept, laugh, and intuit. So accept is very much the energy of a purge. When you accept something, you allow yourself to purge when needed to release. So at 150, which is the Magician and the 10 of Cups, the first card out was the 23 of the King of Wands, that you are worth it. The 48 of the 8 of Cups, walking away within, of hope and happiness. And the 44 of the Social Worker Atlas, to seek beauty within. The Atlas King of Wands sees only beauty in you, Divine Feminine, when soaking in meditation or by candlelight at the beach, when your hair frizzes in the beach humidity, and when covered in birthday wishes. From the side, from the back, from below and above, the King of Wands walks away and within, grounding, integrating, and mastering how to receive this love. With one card coming out at the end, which was the 30 of union and adventure, the Divine Masculine Magician adventure of bridging union, creating a shell to house the altar, the arch that orbits around 2 bodies in orbit. What God has brought together, let no man put asunder. At 215, which is the Philadelphia area code, by the way, 215 is the High Priestess and the Shadow. Again, we started the page with the 1 in the shadow. So here's the Divine Feminine in the shadow, the underlying energy of the 29 and the dry cactus, the 61 of the wet whale, present to risk with gifts and willing to take a risk in deep emotions, with the 23 of the King of Wands, changing cactus's shape to a bubble or desert wheel for luck and right timing. There's very much that energy of dry, the whale versus the cactus without, the desert with lack and then the abundant whale with water. Present to their wrists and gifts, willing to take a risk in deep emotions. But the King of Wands is changing the cactus shape to a bubble or a desert wheel, right? Trying to get it going, to move it towards the bubble of the whale in the ocean for luck and right timing. The 39 of the Knight of Cups coming out of the deep blue sea to a bath instead. So bathing instead of in the metox, instead of being in the deep blue ocean. So again, they're making their way to come together, both of them. A little bubble, so instead of the big bubble that the whale is in at the bottom of the deep blue sea, they're coming out in a metox in the bath with little bubbles instead. The cactus changing shape to the circle, and the whale decreasing their size, to come together in the 43 of good and plenty, the Taj Mahal of St. Francis, and the 50 of the 10 of Cups and the spirit of the river, and the movement to adventure, expanding the altar or the conch shell, needing more room as the home or family expands, allowing the river's flow to guide you. You must dive deep into the water to begin building a bridge, a proper footing and foundation, unable to expand where you are, so bridging across to expand your territory. The 54 of the Page of Swords Mercury, or sending a message home for help or supplies. The 61 to the 54 is coming up as the feminine to the masculine in underlying energy here. At 2:30, the High Priestess again in the union this time instead of the shadow. At the bottom of the deep blue, or bridging across the mountain to mountain with half the tree, creating a vortex between you and me. The 16 of the Tower and the empty well and time to replenish. The expedited messenger or delivery service, the sudden event, the epiphany, the sexual exchange. And the 17 of the Eye of the Needle, the place of intent, of sudden dreams fulfilled by seeing both ends of the spectrum, the flood and the dry spell, and a bridge between. Channeling to heal, the supernova, the star, S-star, S-tar, Esther coming up here as well, where the star is the path of AR, or the reflection of the ray, the path of the reflection of the ray, a big new bridge for rays to go back and forth. The 64 of the 10 of Swords, ending pain. The woodwives are very adaptable to the pain and the bliss, with the space between them and the trunk of the tree. The fixed root, the cardinal in the tree, and the offshoots or branches are the mutables here. The fixed root, the fixed signs, the cardinal signs as the cardinal, red cardinals in the top of the tree, and then the offshoots and branches are the mutable ones. They're more flexible than the center. The 1 of the Divine Masculine and the +1 of the Divine Feminine. He is more with tunnel vision, she is more with television. He with blinders on, and she with great peripheral vision, the all-seeing eye, and the eye seeing all, AWL, the whole. Holding down the fort, the lookout, and the messenger service. The Creator holds down the fort. The Divine Masculine is the lookout, like my blue jay who was being the lookout. The pictures of the blue jay are just cracking me up. The first one where he's on the table there, and you can only see his eye through one of the holes in the table, and then his tail is dipping below the table. He's literally spying on me. The Divine Master is the lookout. The Divine Feminine looks in and out and all the way around in simulcast, because remember the feminine is the masculine and the feminine. So again, the Divine Masculine will be masculine and feminine, but his feminine also is masculine and feminine. The Page of Swords with sudden stardom and bliss, or sudden dreams with bliss or pain. Then 2 cards came up of the Divine Feminine High Priestess and the 25 of the Knight of Wands. In the Garden of Venus. So here's the masculine coming into the Garden of Venus, And then therefore referencing or insinuating the divine feminine high priestess is going to Mars. The 11 of the 2 in truth and balance, and aligned in the deep quiet, rest and renewal, with meditation and stillness. And then the 25-7, which is the Knight of Wands, and the 7 is the Chariot, is the Knight of Wands getting going, becoming the Chariot, which is much more significant in perspective. And then the 11-2, which is the visionary of the 11 and the 2 of the High Priestess, Justice of the Divine Feminine High Priestess's perspective. At 250 to 51, so again the 25 and the 51, so the 50 is also the 10 of Cups, the 51 of the King of Swords, which also, we have 11 here, which is Libra, so it can be Libra, King of Swords, as well as the Knight of Wands, often comes up as Sagittarius, can also represent the lion's heart. So again, this is the interchangeability of the masculine and the feminine, the justice of the divine feminine high priestess's perspective, and the Knight of Wands or Chariot 25-7 perspective of Sagittarius and Libra here, perhaps Mars reaching out to Venus. At 3 to 4:30. So I wrote that because I took a break right there. So it was 3 to 4:30. I was wondering how I got 3 to 4:30, but 3 is the Empress, 4 is the Emperor, and then 30 is the Union. So the Empress to the masculine in union. And that was the end of this read. And the next one, I did a mini read for myself there. The next one started at 4:37 to 38, which is the King and Queen of Cups. And the Emperor, or the control. The Emperor can also represent God, right? The only one in control is Source Creator. And so therefore the Empress representing Mother Nature, which is not just the earth, but all of the field, right? So he is the 4 is the Emperor, is the creator source, the masculine tunneled vision, and then the feminine, the Empress, is all the people in the field, right? She is the lady of the people, and he is the channeled energy of source. So let's see here. And just the sentence, chest arrived with Taylor, came up here. So that might be a message for somebody. And at 4:20, which is actually the time that my son was born, in the morning though. This was in the afternoon. And so again, that day was 369. And then we go into the 21 day, yesterday, which is the 37 one, going into the Cups energy of the King of Cups. And the 21 of the world, which is unconditional love around the world, which what a beautiful energy yesterday was. And today we have the Queen of Cups and the Fool's Journey, also a very beautiful energy of that leap of faith. So I noticed too on a poster I have of dream, explore, and discover. The capital letters were D-E-D, but dream is D-R, so it came up as Dr. E-D. So there's Dr. Ed, so referencing Mr. Ed, but again regarding education. So that's how they were getting me to education, because of E-D, but also now it's the doctorate of Mr. Ed. Okay. So let's see what else came up here. I was also tuning in to Susie Beeler as well yesterday morning, and it was beautiful out. It's beautiful out today as well. And I dealt this deck, and then I wrote down the times for each deck this time for some reason. So now when I sat down, it was 12:12 to do my notes. So the two hanging out together. The Journey of Love was at 12:18 to 19. The Sun and the Moon, the Journey of Love. And then the Metatron deck was 1220 into 21. Nature's Whispers was cut and dealt at 1221, and Shaman Dreams was at 1222. So there's that 22 reference of today again. And all 4 decks, after I dealt 3 cards, each deck had 3 cards in the pile, which never happens. Just think of the odds of that. I'm dealing cards 3, 3, 3, 3, which I don't usually do. I usually let them come out organically, as many as they want. But I decide to do 3, 3, 3, 3, and then the pile of the cards loose after the first 3 I dealt were 3, 3, 3, 3. So it's kind of crazy. So in the Journey of Love, the energies came out 1, 2, and 3, the way the cards were dealt. In the Metatron deck, the energies came out 2, 1, and 3. Nature's Whispers came out 4, but one card, the 4th card, was shared with the other 3, which then became 2. So it was 4 and 2, but sharing 1 in between. So there was a significance there because I was dealt at 1221. And then the Shaman deck at 1222 was 2, 1, and 3, like the Metatron deck. So the underlying energy here, let me show you the read first. I guess that would be helpful. So here is the next read from yesterday. I'm going to move the light just a little bit so it's not reflecting so much. So again, all the underlying energies to the left piles. And I do go beneath these cards, so you may not see all the cards I'm talking about when I'm talking about the underlying energies, but I do usually tell you which cards I'm dealing with. So again, the top is Journey of Love, and you see all the 3 cards that came out at the end of each one after I dealt 3 cards each. Okay, Journey of Love, Metatron, Nature's Whispers, and Shaman Dreams. I'll bring it a little bit closer just so you can see. There you go. All right, so the underlying energy of the first of all 4 decks is the 59 of the Temple, the 38 of the Chakra, the 8 of the Breakthrough, and the 30 of the Horseman. So ending the war within, the Temple, the body, the Queen of Cups, light body, in the dance or breakthrough dance with union with the Horseman, Mr. Ed, co-creating gamma ray education. Okay, so talking about your ray, your connection to source, all right, because we're talking about the Horseman, Mr. Ed, at 1231, which is the chaos of life of the 31, and the Hanging Man, which is referencing Jesus as well, to see a new perspective. It's like I'm getting to 1231 is 1, 2, 3, 1. So again, the spiral again. And it's like the Father and the Son, for the Father to gain new perspective of the young. And the Queen of Cups and the Horseman, Mr. Ed, in the breakthrough dance in union to connect direct with Source in order to come into union, co-creating the gamma ray education, just like we got the seeding 200,000 years ago, but we weren't able to use the seeding until 52,000 years ago in Lemuria because we had to learn the language. We had to learn the information. So the Blue Jays were here again at that point, and calling the other in at 1247, the Hanging Man and the synchronicities, the sweet spot, the heart to the crown, the underlying energy of the 22 of loving all that is, and the Shakti of the 19, which is half of the 38, the pearl threaded, and the 43 of the bride offering herself in coming together with the 33 of God Speaks, to the 51 of the King of Swords, which was just talking about the Father and the Son, to dream a little, the 11 of the eruption of light, to connect with Source in the temple within, the 59, the fighting for self, at the base, or the back perhaps, of Lady Liberty, that all is built and they shall come, for he, she is the altar, and she, he, the atlas, that he, she is the gamma ray, and she, he is the sine wave with directions to each other, to self. On the journey through the sun, S-U-N and the S-O-N, and the Queen of Cups, Mary Magdalene, coming together in joy, in unity, consciousness, where God speaks directly to the King of Swords in Hieros Gamos, to Lady Liberty in the Temple of Ease Den. At 12:55, which is the Hanging Man, and the 55 of the Shaman's Truth, the Excalibur, the light that starts at the root, the chakra system, the spine, where the blue jay then found the seed. First looking in the window to see if all is clear as you're shocking somebody's heart. But at that point, I had put my iPad up to try to catch that part, but it wasn't videoing because I guess it was too loaded at that point. But the blue jay was so cute, finding the seed, looking in the window to check to see if it's all clear, if he's safe to eat his seed. And again, I want to repeat that last line again. So at the 59, remember, which is the 5 of Swords, usually the war within, we came up with the eruption of light to connect with Source for God speaks 33 to the 51 King of Swords, to dream a little, son, as the 11 eruption of light to connect directly with Source in the temple within yourself, the 59 the war within, in fighting for self at the base or back of Lady Liberty, that all is built and they shall come. For he, she is the altar, and she, he is the atlas, and he, she is the gamma wave, and she, he is the sine wave with directions to each other, to self. On the journey through the sun or the sun, and the Queen of Cups, Mary Magdalene, coming together in joy, in unity consciousness, where God speaks directly to the King of Swords, 51, in Hieros Gamos, to Lady Liberty in the Temple of Ease Den, so within the body of Lady Liberty, and the Divine Feminine's den, the lion's den, the lion's heart. So at 101, which references the 1 and the 1 with space between, but there's also the colon there, which represents another line, so perhaps 1101, and then another 1 where I wrote the first card that came out. So notice the 101, let me clear that up a little bit. Notice the 101 is the 1 colon, so 11011. So it's 11011. So 1111 with space between. The 52 of the Ancient Ones, the Queen of Swords, receiving the light. The Queen of Swords receiving that light as Lady Liberty at the Atlantean altar of Atlas. Remember the Cryon said that Atlantis were multiple Atlantic islands that went under, and that Atla means another one or different one. And Atlas or Atla, at LA, remember LA is Los Angeles, the angels. And so came up the other day. So now we have SOLATI do. Okay, at LA, LA is La. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So La is the 6th note of the 7 days, right? And Ti is the 7th day. And on the 7th day is Ti is source. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do is do, a dear one. Re, me, re to me, father. Father is fa. So those angels, Los Angeles, LA, source, Ti, dear one, on the other side. At, quote unquote, la, and other, a different one. The 4 to 7, FASOLATI, which is FASOLATI, the 4th note to the 7th note, the sweet spot of FASOLATI, where the 5th is so, the 6th is La, the 7th is Ti, and the 8th is the 2 coming together, the 2nd do, 2 dear ones, another outside yourself, where normally we would start the scale with the C scale. C, D, E, F, G, where the 6th note is A, the beginning again. And the 7th note is B. Remember, B is 13. The capital B is the 13 of transition to source. The A is the rocket, the penis, the upside down V with a line across, a connection, a bridge. Remember, the V is the feminine of creation, and the upside down V with a line across, which can represent circumcision as well. But the A of Adam and the apple, and the B of transition to source, of the 6th and 7th on the C scale, where also this word atlatl came up, because atla didn't come up as a word on its own, or atla did. That's the another one or different one. But TL came up with atla as well, which is a spear thrower with a wooden stick and a thong hooked on another spear or dart. And then Atlas is the bearer of the heavens, to bear, endure, the top vertebrae, a figure of a man used as a column, like Lady Liberty, a rich satin fabric, and the book of maps. So this is why she's not carrying keys at Lady Liberty, because the keys is the book of maps. The altar is a burning place, high place of worship, but I was getting worship. The alt, which is the joint, the juncture, the knuckle, the stumpy person, a paragraph, section, or old, the old one, the ancient ones. Stop, articulation, the ravine, sometimes everything, all and anything, are all the altar, which is also contains alto, which is a more bass note, right? It's not bass, but it is a feminine bass, right? So that's all coming up as the altar. So at 122, which is the magician and the 22 of today in the Fool's Journey and the Fool, the Atlas is the book of keys. It's also the holder of the head. The book of keys and the holder, the support of the head, the top dog. To the altar, which is the juncture, the joint, the articulation, perhaps the alternator. The altar is the old, the high and under, the ancient one. The human column, the Lady Liberty, to juncture above her head. So again, Lady Liberty as the human column of the Atlas to the altar, juncture above her head, the Atlantic altar in the etheric realms above the Lady Liberty. So Atla is the different one, and Alta is the Indian rose, Bengal dye, however, discharge, and now moment. Its pitch, rise, increase, high, tall, noble, high-minded, from underneath or beneath, the entry and the discharge, the high and the low, the deep and the profound, and the deep and the rooted. And also altum came up, A-L-T-U-M, of grow and nourish, and that's all from Alta. So from Atla, from Atlas, is another, the different one, but Atla and Alta together come up as other now, other different, deep-rooted, highly and profound, dug up, and positive found. So again, the reference of digging up and becoming and found, and I was found, right? I was blind, but I dug it up and now I see, the positive find. The Queen of Swords, Lady Liberty, the Knight of Pentacles, 67, the Swan, of the 6 to 7, the La to T. FASOLA is FASOLA, the Atlantic Big Eye, being and seed. Notice that the word Atlantic is in the definition here of FASOLA, FASOLA, which is the 4, 5, and 6. The Atlantic Big Eye, being or seed, FASOLA is 4 to 6, but we don't have the 7 here, which is source and T. The FASOLA is like Jack and the Beanstalk to the giant, the talking tree, God and their hall of records. And then to gain the T, we have to go to SOLATI. So SOLATI means solatium. The second declension is the intangible or emotional compensation at the end when you hit source. So big eye, another different one, or fish with big eyes, brought up the Vesica Pisces, which Vesica is bladder and the Pisces is the fish. But the Vesica is also the halo, the ring of light, and the fish. But it's just referencing the shape of the ring of light in the shape of the almond. The first declension, descent or falling off, the feminine one is the stem and the AE, which is the ash. So FASOLA and SOLATI, and getting to the end of the 7 notes or tones or the scale, where the FASOLA is getting to God and the SOLATI is another fish with big eyes in emotional compensation. The king of light is the shape of the fish, right? So it's the almond with the tail. The Vesica Pisces and the triangulation, the triquetra. The 3 points bringing the humans to source, where you each connect to source individually on the triangle, which automatically bridges the 2 humans, which I brought this up in my triquetra diagram the other day as well. It's on my tag, which the triquetra is the triangle, right? It's the 3 points, the 3 circles, the 2 humans and source. But the right side up triangle of the masculine is the 2 to the source, but the feminine triangle is the 2 above the source. Again, the up and down, and then after source, 2 triangles. So after you've connected to source in both directions, right? 2 to source, and then mother, father to human. It's like the triangle of the up button and the down button on the elevator. Once they've done that on their own, then the 2 triangles can come together. The 2 triangles come together into the Merkaba star. And then we have the reference of the do-re-mes, or Dorer, is to cast in gold, to brighten up, to brown the egg yolk, or in other words, the word. So we start with 1, 2, 3, ABC, or do-re-mi, because that's to brighten us up, to kind of cast us in gold, to ready us, right, for the word. To get to FASOLA and SOLATI, to get to do. So first is do-re-mis, or the Dorer, to cast in gold and brighten up, to brown the egg yolk, to create that sheen or that enticing look. The word, which is 2 U's, origin of do-re-mis, to get to the FASOLA, to get to God, and the SOLATI is the emotional compensation you get when you get there. The one of the first to gild and brighten up to get a tan. So this is your first order as a human. First to gild, to brighten up and get a tan. 2 to then create a beanstalk or sine wave to the giant, to God, 4, 5, 6. Then the third step is 5, 6, 7 to receive emotional compassion by do, the 8 dance, with your other on the other side of the scale. You pick the key. The 52, again, that's the book or your story. The 52 of the Queen of Swords, 1 was source. The Knight of Pentacles, 67 of the Swan, the humble loyal servant, shifting universes with the 7. And the 52, which is 7, the other side of her, but just in a different way. So I want you to look at this because if I show you close up, in both these 2 decks, this is card 7 and this is card 7. And then the last card here is 46 and 46, and it's both about the child jumping for joy. And notice how here's Lady Liberty and the Queen of Swords jumping for joy to receive the light, and then here's the child jumping for joy at the end. So you have to see the patterns that exist here, okay? Plus the 4 threes, which never happens. So the 52 is the Queen of Swords, the one with source, the Knight of Pentacles 67, where the swan shifts universes as 67, moving from the 6 to the 7, the Chariot, the 52/7. 52 being the Queen of Swords, but the 7 is the Chariot on the other end, the other side of her. The 3 is the 3 cards, the Abundance, the Empress. The 3 circles, or the 3 halos, the circles of light, the almonds of light, which almond is all world, the all world circles of light. Or in other words, the ellipse, the ellipsis, which is falling short, and then the never-ending ellipsis, the 3 ellipses, which is the Adam and the Eve at Om, the moment before. So the evening at home, right? At the Om, the 0 point field, the moment before. The evening is the moment before, the next day. The 61, where she loves and takes a risk. The 54, which is the Earth Angel of the Shaman's Truth, 55. The 46 of just for a moment, joy. The J of oi, jumping up. Notice the Y is the child jumping up with their arms in the air. The 0 is the human embodiment of source, but here it's coming up as the oval of the ellipsis. The oval of the ellipse, and the J, which can come up as a couple different ways. Of course, it can reference Jesus, but taking a risk to love the Page of Swords Earth Angel, or the Universal Mercury Earth Angel, as the 6 of Cups, the inner loving children at 0 point, oi. The J is the Holy Grail to the top, right? The J with the T, which is 2 letters. It's the capital T, which is the dead end at source, and then the Holy Grail, which is connected to the T, direct connect to source. So the capital J is the Holy Grail to the top, right? The womb heart of the Earth Mother and the feminine, the womb heart to the top, the direct connect. The Atlas to the altar. The at the joint, remember that the joint is weaker, right? Because it's at the joint, it can be broken more easily. At the joint where you're tired and weak, right? At the Y in the road, and need to be more flexible. To all enthroned, the altar is the all throne, the crimson blood, the even throne, the lower part to go toward the throne, the underneath, the old and the stale, going to the throne, nourishing, fostering, breeding, to the one, the high road to the one, to enter the throne, the fire of the high road to one, and other throne, or the eel throne, which is the energetic exchange of the 2 cracked eggs open and connecting between each other on the high road to the one. The energetic exchange and the quantum leap to the throne, that's the eel. Because remember, the L is 2 dots connecting. She risks to love and be Universal Mercury Earth Angel of the 46, the one of 2 children jumping for joy just for a moment at 2:14, which is Valentine's Day, the High Priestess and the Patient Angel. So remember, she is the masculine and the feminine. They both have masculine and feminine, right? But she, as the feminine, has more feminine than masculine. The masculine could have can have the same, but she embodies the womb energy, which requires more feminine energy. Masculine just has masculine, but the feminine has masculine and feminine, which why the masculine, having both masculine and masculine feminine in him, does have the feminine in him. but not as much as the feminine has, feminine in her, because she is that direct connect through the womb. So at 214 is the underlying energy of the Queen of Cups. The 54 of the Page of Swords from the Castle Cloud 9 0-point address to the 53 of the Knight of Swords, which creates Page of Swords movement to unlock the key to freedom as the one, the magician, the yellow carpenter bee, pollinating buttercup for joy and happiness. I was just getting in the sixth degree of separation is coming up here. The yellow carpenter bee pollinating buttercup for joy and happiness, and the number 6, which is also the G, the spiral of the aqua rose gold mother's heart of the 38 Queen of Cups, and the chakra system, light body lit up. So the Queen of Cups has that chakra system lit up. He pollinates the mother's flower so that she lights up the father's castle or grid. So again, we start in the underlying energy of the Queen of Cups, the 38, and the 54 of the Page of Swords from Castle Cloud 9 0-point address to the 53, creating movement of the universal Mercury in movement to unlock the key to freedom as the one of the magician, the yellow carpenter bee, pollinating buttercup, referencing Jesus and Mary Magdalene, for joy and happiness of the 6, the spiral, but one half of the spiral is the 6th, the aqua rose gold mother's heart of the 38 Queen of Cups, and the chakra system and the light body lit up, the feminine. He pollinates the mother's flower, which is the Mother Earth, the Earth core, which is also the daughter that then gains her independence in the moon. He pollinates the mother's flower so that she lights up the daughter lights up the father's castle or grid. Right? So he pollinates the mother, the son pollinates the mother's flower so that she lights up then the daughter within lights up the father's castle or grid. Quote unquote, she lights up my life, as Lady Liberty says, the temple within. Okay, so again, Lady Liberty is the map to the altar. And she's saying she lights up my life, as Lady Liberty says, because she's got the flame lighting up the temple above in the etheric realms. She lights up the temple within. At 219, which is the High Priestess and the Sun. Good morning, dear one. At 219, the High Priestess and the Sun, the first card out was the 17 of the Star, and conquering fears to heal and dream start today. Pause to heal and receive with the 43, the 3 of Cups coming together. And again, the reference of holding the magnet over your head to clear your auric layers. And something also came up from Susie Beeler to go into meditation and clear your inner baby at birth. And I was called to go to you at birth as well last week. So go back to when you were born to clear the nervous system of your mother and father out, right? Disconnect the nervous systems of your mother and father so you aren't templated to their nervous systems. So that might be something you would like to give a try if that resonates with you. So Sandalphon, the swan, Knight of Pentacles, that humble loyal servant, comes up here with the 7 of water, which I hadn't been drinking, so it was always a reminder to get me to drink water as well. But the 7 of the Chariot, and then reminder of the emotional well-being with water, right? If you don't have water, you're not going to feel well. To shift that you matter, so remember self-care. At 244 is the High Priestess, and again, the social worker atlas of the way to the emotional world, of grounding, integrating, and mastering how to receive love from another. With 3 cards again, the 3 of the earth, Mother Nature, of the fields and the earth, the abundance of the mother and the people, as opposed to the father and the top dog. the 45 of endings, and the 34 of your ancestors, and the 46 of your authentic self, purging at sunset to leap to the other side in energetic exchange with your ancestors, and the 6 of Cups, your authentic self, your inner self, your children, your other self, your twin. From 45 to 34 to 46 represents the 4, 5 to the 3 in the loop, back to the 4. But then from 34 to 46 is the 4 to 4, which is the leap to the 6. And the 6D is also instant manifestation, that you are held by ancestral appreciation and healing back to the tear shape, the teardrop shape, right? The vaginal opening is the teardrop, the reflection of the tear, the pear, the partridge in a pear tree, to end the end to the womb. So who are you? 2 birds in a partridge tree, 2 birds in energetic exchange of children playing inside the womb, twins. She receives the light and he is the lookout. So he's literally the 2 cards, right? One is looking out of the tear-shaped hole, or the child looking out of the vagina, basically. And then she's receiving the light. He's the lookout at the end of the tunnel, which is so funny the way it comes up sometimes. So 2 birds in energetic exchange on the 2nd day. My true love gave to me 2, is that 2 maids a milking? I can't remember. But 2 birds in a pear tree. I actually have a little pear tree, not a real one, but. So you are held by ancestral appreciation and healing back to the tear shape or drop. The pear, the partridge in a pear tree, the end to the womb. So who are you within? 2 birds in energetic exchange, children playing inside the womb, twins. She receives the light and he is the lookout. So then we have the 4 sets of decks. We're 59 in the underlying energy with 52, 67, and 7. 38 with 17, 43, and 7, which I showed you, the 2 7s in the same place, as well as in the 3 extra cards, the 46 being in the same place. The 3rd deck with the 8 underlying, 46, 23, 49. And then the last deck is 30 in the underlying energy with 32, 49, and 8. And I don't usually write down all the numbers, but I saw the 7s in the first 2 decks in the same place and the 46s in the same 2 places, and they're the only 2 numbers of all the numbers that repeat themselves of all those numbers there. So 7 came up twice and 46 came up 3 times, but all the other numbers were individual and they didn't repeat themselves. So then I took a break to run and deal with my blue jays, and there was that 3 to 420. Didn't I say that already? Hold on a second. Oh my God. So I didn't realize that, but on the 20th, when I took a break, I wasn't running, but I took a break from 3 to 4:30, which was probably more like, 4:20. And then I just wrote that down on the 21st, yesterday. 3 to 4:20, I went for my run and dealt with my blue jays. So at 4:24, I was just getting it, and a star is born. So my son was born at 4:20. My son's name is Matthew, so that's a reference. Matthew means it's child of God. I'm trying to think what it was exactly, but there's a reference to that meaning and the connection between source. At 4:20. So again, 3 to 4:20 is the Empress, or the Earth, Mother Nature, the field, and the 4 of the top dog. The 20 of Judgment, which is the wake-up call to all. At 424, which is the Emperor again, and the 24 of the Queen of Wands, which is Omega, the Enlightenment, the underlying energy was 1 to make a wish, 15 to catch your breath with the shadow, the 19 of the shifting energy, and then the 45 of empowerment, the 8 of the breakthrough dance. To shift your energy with the sun and stones to ground and allow your purge to empower and find peace in a breakthrough, to dance with an open heart into rough seas in a leap of faith, making a hard left to the sea, unafraid to be free. And again, that the left is not a political statement. It has to do with the feminine or the more etheric energy, the lighter side. The 1 of the 46 is the 6 of Cups, of gratitude and appreciation for your bestie, perhaps, the little girl and their unicorn. Oh, I just noticed too, the 2 times at the top of the page. Oh, they were the same. Okay, the 2. So Valentine's Day was coming up as significantly. A lot of 4s came up on that page too. And remember, the 14 is that temperance card of a higher love. At 429 is the Emperor and the 29 of being present in the moment, in the 4D completion. The 23 of the King of Wands, that you are worth it. Or perhaps this is the King of Wands telling you, Divine Feminine, that you are worth it. As he watches you bloom, he's seeing you in all perspectives, and he sees you beautiful from every angle. The 49 to heighten your vitality with self-love, self-care, and nurture. That it's time for your inner little girl and or outer child to partner with self, together and alone. With 3 cards again, the 47, 12, and 5, of laughter and synchronicities, of heaven in their eyes, expansion in wise hand fasting, mountain to mountain, after mischievous angels and avatars on thunder rolls in the clouds, a stampede of children laughing and riding on magic clouds, to hang out and see new perspectives and allow the change by clearing out the old, removing the blindfold to see the light, the 2 inner children jumping for joy separately and then riding together to move mountains while clearing out the old simultaneously. A leap to be all of you. Don't forget to clear dark shadows, and Barnabas Collins, Jane 2, at 4:39, Spirit's connecting with me. So something significant about, letting go of scary movies, because it brings up negative energy. And the vampires of Barnabas Collins, we don't normally remember that, right? Because that was a long time ago. And I'm definitely dating myself with Barnabas Collins. But I guess Dark Shadows has come out with more updated shows or movies as well. But again, there was a sense of humor, though, with Barnabas Collins. So maybe you have dealt with like Halloween and scary things, and but have you dealt with Barnabas Collins, right? So again, the scary, but that's funny. Seeing the humanity in the vampire. So, and also Jane Collins is coming up too. So again, things like Dallas and Dynasty have been coming up big time this past month or so, to clear out those energies of the power couple, right? Because Barnabas was also the main power of the house. So at 4:39 is the 4 of the Emperor, the 39 of the Knight of Cups, the underlying energy of the 7, and the unwritten sacred covenant of the Chariots of Fire and Isis. The 45 of purging to weave the pages back together as Isis looks for his parts, top down, repairing the veil of forgiveness, the altar or the juncture with the Atlas book of keys or maps, but the Atlas or juncture of the axis and Atlas supporting the top dog, the head, with the Atlas book of keys or maps. The strength of the 7, the chariot, is the vehicle of the feminine within the masculine, the calm before the storm, the 0-point field for the 11 to align side by side with space between, in the deep quiet of meditation and stillness, and the 9 able to balance on one foot. And I found this very interesting because they were giving 9, which is Virgo, the Libra energy, and 11, the Virgo energy of the Hermit. So again, this is also coming up 11 and 9, which is reversing the 9-11 energy to balance in the deep quiet of meditation and stillness, and the ability to balance on one foot. And remember, Virgo to Libra is the middle of the astrological chart, the hinge, the joint, the space between, the Libra Virgo mid-cycle, and then 119 reversing 911, which also was bringing up DED. So the DED so again, reviving the dead. So DED can represent the dead, right? Because a lot of people died at 9/11, and reversing that, right? Seeing the opposite in order to bring things to the middle, the balance. But it brings up my poster there of Dream, Explore, Discover of DED, but Dr. ED, the doctorate in Mr. Ed U. Cation. And that's ED of extra dimensional. The U is the Holy Grail, and the Cation is the positive ion, the positively charged ion. So extra dimensional, Holy Grail, positively charged ion, where extra is the X of the 8 dance, and the tra is the beam of light or ray. The 3, the earth, the soil, the path in the forest, the fire break. Fire break again is the ring of fire. Through, between, and among the other, and I kept getting the on the way to grandmother's house, to investigate, examine, and inspect. So the extra dimensional Holy Grail positively charged ion of education and Mr. Ed is the X of the crazy 8s dance, 2 skinny 8s or ellipse 8s, right? So you can't see them because the circle has become an oval or it's disappeared to the side. The 2 8s coming together, the masculine and the feminine in the crazy 8s dance of the, remember the X is also the chromosomes, right? The beam or ray, the path through the forest at daybreak to investigate, examine, and inspect. The rolling stone, which is the 3, the 2 people connection to all through the tunneled vortex. The 0 point God's rail as the positively charged connection equals education. The doctorate in Mr. Ed and you positively connecting. Education. A contract to purge and create new binding through joining or articulating, through weaving and binding, sowing and reaping, the 2 pages with space between. The justice of going within and the balancing act. The 48 of the sky dancers in surrendering, and the 30 of the horsemen heralding the change in union. Sophia's sine wave dancers, which also the sky is Sophia's KY, which is the K of energy and the Y of the 0 point field. And of course S is the sine wave, which is the C reflecting upon itself, the C of the whispering bench, and the Christ unity consciousness in the sine wave reflecting itself in the energy of the 0 point field, the quantum twin flame push and pull of the 2-eyed needle. The Sophia's sine wave dancers surrender the union with Mr. Ed, who ignites the change. The human from 4 to 8, from survival to manifesting dreams dance, where the heart is the home and there's no urgency to get there, to just be and butter. So there's that reference of butterflies and the bees, or the birds and the bees. And at 5:03 is the Hierophant and the Empress with the space between, which are both Taurus energies, as Taurus is in the North Node right now. The Queen of Cups ignites the temple within, getting She ignites the temple within, getting comfortable with the 59 Five of Swords, the moment before. So it's like the cyclone. You're getting comfortable sitting in the cyclone as opposed to just being comfortable in the vortex. You're getting comfortable to stand in the cyclone without being affected. The Five of Swords, the moment before, the bewitching hour at the last minute, right, at the bewitching hour. A breaking through the horseman to the other side. So again, there's that reference of the tiger jumping through the ring of fire and the eclipse, which is on the 25th. Today's the 22nd. Articulating and activating within and without the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Wands, coming up as the Six of Wands, right? So it's the Knight of Wands energy, but it's really the herald of change, of good news, bringing in the news that the war is over. The Queen of Cups with the journeyman dancing on. The journey, 32, of the jeweled web, which is je willed, which is the I child. But the jeweled web, where web is two U's and EB, of connected light, lighting the Christmas tree up. I child of jeweled, I child of the ED web, two U's ebb and flow in the co-creation of E and 13, which is the 1 equal and congruent to the 13 of transition, which is the E and the B of the web. Two U's ebb, EB, 1 equal and congruent to the 13 of transition to the other. The 49 of the Nine of Cups, skywriting, the hourglass on its side, is the shared space of the fates, the field of the K energy, or of Orion and Taurus, co-creating of the M, the two ones with the V between, is the co-creating, two IMs creating the F, which is the digamma, the twin flame rays, or the two-ray twin flame starting gate. And this was so cool, the way this came. I have to show you the card. All right, let me get the card out. And which deck is that? I think it's the Shaman card. Okay, so it's very interesting because this one card, here it is, right near the top. That never happens either. Okay. So I have to show you this card because it references where I got the information from. Now you see how this card number 49, which is the Nine of Cups, get your wish and self-satisfaction and all that. But you see all of the symbols on there. So here is the hourglass on its side and referencing the Taurus as well, okay? Notice that's also the X dance, right? And the two ones, the pillars on either side. And then here is the K. Here's the capital M of the two ones and the V creating. And then over here is the F, which looks like the gamma, the digamma. And then here's the two flags at the end. And I'm trying to think, so what does this represent? And it came in this message today. Because this is not the finish line, right? It can be the starting gate, but it's not the middle and the finish, because that usually has to do with one flag. And this can be each bringing a flag in from both sides of the situation. But it brought together a very cool meaning today, because this is this, but the human connection. So here is the toroidal field, right? But this is also the shared space between the twins, right? Because if you add the circle on either end, you have the 8. There is the infinity right there. But the space over here is the human over here that's not shared. And the human over here that's not shared, this is the part of them that's shared in the middle. This is that star of Bethlehem, right? So this over here is the finish line where the two humans gain their independence side by side, and the point in the middle opens up the space between. You see that? So I wanted you to see the visual reference. The hourglass is the shared space of the fates, the K energy, which is the shape of Orion and Taurus. And remember what I said, in Taurus there's a dragon there whose tail ends in the 7 sisters, the Pleiades. And this is Orion facing his dragon self, right? Facing themselves. The M of the co-creation, the two IMs creating the F of the digamma or two-ray twin flame starting gate. As the hourglass opens in the middle at the point when two humans are connected to each side. So when you're connected to both sides, you don't worry about the space between, right? Because you're already connected to each other, right? You're already comfortable with each other. So you're not scared to have that space between. That's where the middle breaks open and there's space allowed in. The sky of the SKY, or Sophia's energy of 0 point, sky blue, aquamarine was coming up yesterday for sure, and the sign waving, your own story. In the 8, in the crazy 8s dance of the crown games, of the CG. So I'm going to show you that card too, because that was significant here. And that was right next to that card. So here's the crown games card. So it's the 8th card, but it's about, taking the 3D crown off. And you see how it's crown games is very much the C and the G, which is the Christ and the God energy, right? Of own and aims, to own your intention in the Christ God crown games and right use of power. So in that card is the crazy 8's dance of the crown games of CG, the whispering bench and the spiral, the Christ God with the right use of power. Only then will Sophia connect, when the false crown is removed and the real crown is opened. The 3 cards coming up again here for the 4th time. The 4th time as the 4th quarter is the Knight of Wands, announcing the end of the war times 2. The first card out being the tidy treehouse, the tutor or totem of clarity and organization. Again, the source energy with blinders on at the top, and the divine masculine magician with the Page of Cups and Page of Wands, the 40 and the 26, with a mindful group and gathering around in the power of community with Sweetheart and Lion's Heart. God's house, the trees and the forest, all 2 kids need for clarity and organization is Mother Nature and Source. After all, 1, 2, 3, Mother Father's top dog, and 2, 3 equals 5 in the marriage of the quiet psychic abilities and the abundant groundedness. So again, remember that in the positions of 1, 2, and 3, the masculine's not 1, right? Source creator is 1. The 2 and the 3 is the mother and the father. The 1 is the top dog. The 2 plus 3 equals 5 in the marriage of the quiet psychic abilities with the abundant groundedness. But only with Mother, Father, Creator, the plus 1, do we get to the 6, right? Because 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 6. So we only get to the 6 if we add the 1 of the spiral, the source energy of love. At 5, 23 to 24, which is the King and Queen of Wands, and the 5 of the marriage, 1 plus 40 plus 26 equals 66 plus 1. The Queen of Pentacles, which remember the feminine contains both masculine and feminine energies, the Page of Cups and the Page of Wands equals the Golden Gate Bridge, or the 66 to Source, which is 66 to 1, which is 67. The Knight of Pentacles, the humble, loyal servant. So really profound. I hope you appreciate those messages, because I sure did. They were amazing today and yesterday. All right, so now back to the 7-deck read on the table. And all that was very clear in the way it came through. There's a lot of education there. All right, so here, the next one is, just want to make sure I didn't miss something. Yes. Okay, so now back to the 7-deck read, which was actually done on the 19th. And 733 to 744 coming up significantly, and the 3s and 4s equal the 7s. So 733 to 744, which also references my business 33 to 44. And then 2 7s, right? So we have 2 3s and 2 4s adding up to 7 and 7. But also is the 3344 equals the 77 of the sovereign. The Christ energy and the Atlas energy, where the Christ is the altar and Atlas equals the sovereign of the Knight of Pentacles. How do you like that? That's very cool. The Knight of Pentacles is normally 67, but it's come up to the 7-7. Very interesting, as that came up earlier in the read. Okay. All right, so here we have the whole read on the table. And this was at 528. I dealt the main cards from the SIRIAN Starseed deck, the big cards. 528, which is the Hierophant, and the 28 of the Twin Flames, the marriage of the Twin Flames. There you go. I finished clarifying at 625, which is the love, the lovers, and the 25 of the Knight of Wands. And the code line here of major arcana with strength, solar deity, which is the sun, the hanging man, the chariot, and before the read was the lovers, and the lovers was upright. The 2 of Cups was reversed in this read. But after the read is the reason and the abundance, which is the Emperor and the Empress, and they were both reversed. So there are 2 cups, 3 swords, 2 pentacles, and the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Swords, the King of Cups, and the Page of Pentacles, rather. And before the read was the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Wands, and after the read was the King of Swords, and the 9 of Cups was in the read as well here. We had, there were no double or triple numbers here. Only the main numbers were 2, 5, and 8. There's the 25 of the Knight of Wands and the 8 dance of strength, of empowerment, of manifesting your dreams. That also can be the 2 of the High Priestess and the 5 of the Hierophant. Right? The traditional and the untraditional coming together in the Crazy Eights dance. With the 1, the 4, and the 7 also came up. So it's interesting, right? It's like do-si-do. The 2, 5, 8 came up as the main numbers, and the outer cards came up 1, 4, and 7, which is the 1 of the Magician embodiment and the 4 to 7 of the sweet spot from the heart to the crown, and then making them the 12 of the Hanging Man, the 45 of the Purge, and the 78 of the completion of the dream family in heaven on earth, along with 9 at the end as a reminder for compassion. So the code line was all about adventure and rebirth, and the number 8 in the 8's dance. Excuse me. So the code line came up as the following, and very much the Queen of Cups was in the middle of this, supporting the 8 of Swords, which is the prison or the release. And you can see good in both, right? Even in the prison, there's profound transformation within, and in the release as well. So, in adventure and rebirth, which came up as adventure, Rebi or Rebi, and then RTH came up, which Ruth very much came up with that. I was just like with the Rebe or Rabbi, I was getting Reba McEntire kept coming up for me for some reason. Actually, we can look that up right now, see if anything's come up with her. So the top story for her is Reba McEntire, Terry Clark sparkle with hit-filled sets during Nashville concert. Country Music Hall of Fame member Reba McEntire brought her Reba live in concert tour featuring blah, 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 blah. So that was 33 minutes ago. How do you like that? 33. And that was from Billboard. So again, Reba McEntire showcases her timeless excellence to Bridgestone Arena crowd. Raising son Shelby to be humble. There's that Knight of Pentacles. Reba on raising son Shelby to be humble. How she kept him from becoming a spoiled brat. Very interesting. Didn't know if she could continue after the tragedy that devastated her. So anyway, you can read her story if you'd like. And what came up below that, the videos that came up below that brought up Loretta Lynn dying at 90. And there were tributes that came up 3 weeks ago. So Reba was part of that tribute with Loretta Lynn dying. Reba McEntire, Miranda Lambert, and more star tributes there. And again, so singing is coming up as very significant right here. And yeah, that's it. Okay. So what came up from the code line today regarding adventure, rebirth, and the number 8. And again, it's interesting because my son came up with 420, and then her son just came up, right? The loyal, humble servant. And my son is very much that way as well. He's got a very sweet heart. San Francisco also came up here, seeking E, the 1 equal and congruent to. The so, there's where the so came up of soul, but SOLATI do, which is the 5th note. So San Fran, seek 1 equal and congruent to the 5th tone or the 5th note, because remember you have to pick your key, right? It's just your story, the way you want to write your story. The Queen of Cups, support, or 1 of 2. The 8 of Swords, prison or release, to flirt with adventure and rebirth. The Sforzando, or the musical attack, at 702. The Chariot and the High Priestess again. Seeing the key, so, do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, do. So the so also in the C scale would be G, which is also the energy of the 6 in the spiral, whereas the la was the A, beginning the alphabet all over again. So actually the do, re, mi of C, D, E isn't the beginning, right? It's actually the last 3, or the last 2, going from G, the transition in the spiral, to the AB, which ABC is the actual beginning. So the Queen of Cups being 1 of 2, perhaps anxiety is coming up in the holy place of birth or offering. Science fiction, seeking E, soul. So again, the science fiction of movies, where someone's seeking someone's soul, or seeking 1 equal and congruent to their own soul, right? Being science fiction as opposed to real. Being wise of emotions, the support, or 1 of 2, releases for labor pains for this rebirth. Yesterday, seeing the key in seeking E, the soul. 1 equal and congruent to, but I'm also getting the 1 in the Crazy 8 dance and song with the Queen of Cups, supporting the anxiety of the prisoner. And that's interesting too, because what's it called? The Sisters, the Sisters Coven? I don't know if it was 7 Sisters. I can't remember the title was. I hadn't seen it before, so I turned it on, but then I turned it off because it's a very dark, long movie. But the reference of that prisoner, right, of the girls who were arrested and and I want to say subjugated, but like totally harassed, by a priest into admitting they were witches, these young girls. But again, yesterday seeing the key and seeking E, the one equal congruent to the soul, also the so of the fifth note, the change of the dance with source energy and song. The Queen of Cups supporting the anxiety of the prisoner, the widow and the widowed, the misery and the observation, the energy of divide and conquer, of shift work, to divide, separate, to part, to seek the one equal and congruent to. So the Queen of Cups supports as one of two the grief of the widow or the prisoners, or the anxiety about flirting, the now moment, and being observant or just observing. And again, this is bringing up the anxiety I felt in my stomach last night and this morning, even though it wasn't me. I was feeling very relaxed. So the energy of Ruth came up here. And again, very much the rebirthing and the widower, the widowed and the widower. The arrival, approach. So Advent was coming up, the arrival of Advent. And of course, that comes up in December. And again, I was talking about the partridge in a pear tree, right? And the 12 days of Christmas. So again, the second coming of the leading up to Christmas is the same type of time period, and opening up the second door, December 2nd was coming up. But that's not when the 12 days starts, right? It starts on because it's up to the 25th for Christmas. So the 12 days. So is it 12? So 12 to 13, and then 2 days. So it's coming up 12, 14 to 15, which is the angel and the devil, which is the light and the shadow. So I don't know if they're just taking me to that message or if there's a significance around the dates. But again, December 2nd coming up. The arrival of Advent, the enigma, the second coming, the puzzle to receive. At 7:17 to 19 here. And sending them a message to your twin about when to come together. And again, the 7:02 coming up there of the chariot and the high priestess, the feminine within the masculine ascending in their psychic abilities. The law of right to hire, the journey to Ruth. And Chicago is coming up there as well. The bovine and to bake, full name, reputation, and Ruth were coming up. And again, the Ruth being a Moabite woman married an Israelite, loses all of the men in her family, the husband, the father-in-law, the brother-in-law, and moves with her mother-in-law to Judah, where Ruth wins the love and protection of a wealthy relative, Boaz, through kindness. John Keats' quote came up here, the Ode to Nightingale, referencing Ruth as isolated and grief-stricken when laboring in exile. So then Sophia Digama came up with the message here as well, the twin flames reflection of the soul's age of emotional support, the prison of the holy place of offering. So remember too that the do re mi, fa so la, and then la ti do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, and then SOLATI to get to do. And remember that what came up there was the holy place of offering, right? When you get to source, which is that emotional compensation. The arrival of the second coming, the reputation that precedes them, the reputation that precedes the arrival, the second coming of the earth and the journey to receive baby Ruth was coming up, which also can reference Ra to the nth degree. The sine wave, the salt of the earth, the twin flame seeking the key souls of age of hearts, the one of two, the anxiety of the water break. And that's interesting too, right? Because we talked about the fire break coming up. So the fire break being the birthing through the ring of fire, which is the actual birth. And here's the anxiety of the water breaking, right? Foreseeing the fire break. The self-reflection and seeking so wise of heart to support the prison and anxiety of the widow. So again, being able to walk in the cyclone, not just in the vortex. So the anxiety of the moment before, right? The water break is alerting you to the fact that you're going to have to push this baby out of you soon. So alerting you that you need to stay present in the moment so that you don't go into that same place that you normally would as a 3D person. Being able to walk through the cyclone without getting anxiety or traumatized. The strength energy reversed here starts off this read. So this card over here, the big card with the mini ones on top, is the Strength card reversed, and beneath it is this Knight of Swords upright, the Seven of Cups upright, the Four of Cups reversed, the Lovers upright, and the Queen of Wands reversed. Where the Knight of Swords is upright, with synchronicities to start over in love, with affection of the Queen of Wands reversed, who may be weak. The Knight of Swords going upstairs to start over with Lover, and the Queen of Wands reversed in need of strength. Or perhaps she's a Leo, on a quest to get over depression, with the World reversed, Leo, Aquarius, and Pisces all reversed, and Taurus reversed, needing closure, no longer partnered or divorced, or spiritually frustrated and without growth. At 7:55, the Chariot and the Truth of Excalibur. At 7:56, after getting together with childhood friend or soul tie or sibling, the Page of Swords upright in energetic exchange with the King of Wands reversed and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, who may be jealous of Atlas or the hard work to let go, or kids constantly messaging to the King of Wands reversed and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, feeling rejected, or Gemini does, and working really hard to let go of that. With legs weak and or building up calves, someone might have an issue with the size of their calves here too, learning to let go a little and not be so Scroogey, or the King of Wands reversed needing anger management, or is just tired, and of the Queen of Pentacles reversed needing grounding, and the Knight of Cups reversed feeling jealous or rejected or burdened and letting go, working out to build up strength. With the Chariot reversed, broken down, broke up, broke in, broke out, or broke through, or stuck on the warpath, but the worst is over of cleaning up the mess with the King of Swords reversed, or an emergency, but the worst is over, and coming clean or cleaning up the act. Stuck in bliss, sneaking around, the King of Swords reversed, glued to the ceiling, or the thief escaped, and the King of Swords reversed is pissed off, or in very negative self-talk. Calling in your soulmate, and beneath that you deserve love, with the King of Swords reversed, defenseless to unwanted or unsolicited affection when the little lizard is watching. So that can be like, if two people are broken up and still living together, perhaps allowing the other person to come and hug you, even though you don't want to hug them because the children are around. The Ace of Swords upright, and the harsh truth of the world upside down, of the Page of Cups unable to express their emotions. Perhaps a surgery that's sterile, or someone who's a germaphobe, or or a display, but I wrote by accident dismass, which is weird. I don't know what that word means, or other words than like not a mass, or dismissing could be coming up here too. Sorry, my cards have fallen over right there. All right, so let's see here. So unable to express, the Page of Cups, unable to express their emotions, or not knowing how to express their emotions, maybe someone trying to think of something creative to do for somebody loving, but they're not good, they feel like they're not good at it. But this also can be some kind of sterile surgery here, which obviously all surgeries should be sterile, or a germophobia who expects everything to be sterile. Or again, this could be a display of a collection of swords, if someone collects swords, or surgical instruments, but I'm getting a dismass, not display. So that could also be like where the way they were perfectly arranged has been like rearranged or not perfect, right? The germ, if somebody touched their stuff is what I want to say. So like maybe someone's collection was in a sterile fashion, right? They're very proud of this collection, and they might be a germaphobe as well, where it was on display and it was messed with, right? Someone broke their sterile field there. Or the history of cutting tools, or voodoo. There could be voodoo here with a pin cushion. Somebody might have mixed in their voodoo with their perfectly aligned stuff of sterile instruments or swords that had nothing to do with voodoo. And someone might have added their pin cushion to taint the energy of this, and rope, because it was coming up kind of in discord or in a dark kind of way. This also could be the energy of torture, or sex chamber, or sex room, or rehab, or a psych ward, handcuffs, remote view, or secretly being recorded, and that can be arrested as well. Perhaps tools of manipulation and threat to get him to do or give them whatever they want. Again, this could be someone who, just as an example, someone who had a shotgun wedding, right, and didn't really want to marry that person, ended up marrying that person because they got pregnant. And that person, knowing that they didn't really want to marry them, finds ways to manipulate them to get them to stay in the marriage. So perhaps they videotape them. Let's have a sex tape, honey. Well, they videotape them on tape, or they get them to do things they wouldn't normally do because they know they're a people pleaser. So they got them to do these things and recorded them to use them as threats so they could never leave them, because they knew if they exposed these things to the public that it would ruin his reputation or embarrass him, and he couldn't deal with it. The truth of the King of Swords reversed, and their ability to remote view, or the Page of Cups watching every move, and then the police was coming up. So, oh, can't you see you belong to me? Every breath you take, every step you make, I'll be watching you. So whether this is your partner or Big Brother watching you, the energy was coming up. This came up in this read as in a dark way, but it also came up in a positive way of the masculine watching the feminine. Oh, can't you see you belong to me? Every breath you take, I'll be watching you. So it came up in two different ways. And that might have been another read I was doing on my own, but it definitely came up both here, the negative, and then the positive. So the communication coming up here with number 33 in the Christ or unity consciousness of the spiritual partnership, the 27 of the Ace of Wands. Looking back, little brother could feel left out and unable to express their feelings about this. Perhaps the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Swords, both upright here with the Page of Pentacles, which can be children, but they can also be adults, just showing the adults arrangement in their childhood of, who is the youngest, the oldest, and the middle. The Knight of Wands and the Knight of Swords and the Page of Pentacles coming up here. Unable to sleep and rising above, awakening to the Queen of Wands, the King of Wands, and the Knight of Swords, now all reversed. So the King and Queen of Wands and the King of Swords. So three adults reversed whereas as children, being the Knight of Wands, Knight of Swords, and the Page of Pentacles. Or 3 adults fighting or exhausted or sick, or 2 hot-tempered and 1 verbally abusive or sharp with their words or really negative. After the Page of Swords reversed, unable to implement their plan, choices were taken away from them, or the silent treatment without a choice. The King of Swords reversed weak and or sick and letting go, or sick of this, as the King of Swords reversed is blocking the Page of Cups, communication in the past, or coming in the past, as the King of Swords reversed needing the strength to let go of the King of Swords reversed baby brother, perhaps, maybe they're both air signs, or a twin, due to a past communications, and that can be a love relationship as well with 2 men, but due to past communications and spiritual partnership, where the Empress is reversed here with synchronicities and choices, recovering from exile or health in need of attention. The 2 of Swords reversed, new information or decision made, and the 6 of Swords reversed in need of peace. The Page of Wands reversed and King of Pentacles reversed, dropping the act between them. And that source of manipulation doesn't have to be as harsh as what I talked about, where someone makes a sex tape to use as a threat so they'll never leave. It can just be something where they know what their triggers are, what will pull their heartstrings and not leave them. Like, maybe if you get really sick and they know that they lost someone and they didn't take care of them when they were dying. And so now they have this thing about, they would never let someone die without taking care of them again. So now the person is sick all the time, so they'll have to take care of them. They know they won't leave them if they're sick. So a lot of different scenarios can come up with that. At 847, which is the dance of the 47, the 4 to 7 sweet spot, the heart to the crown, but also the synchronicities and heaven in your eyes, with the Emperor reversed, perhaps drained or sick, stressed out, perhaps a sister, or suffering in silence, or at their wits' end, with the 5 of Swords reversed post-war, or PTSD, or lost and dissatisfied not getting their way. With the recent past of this Queen of Swords upright, the Lady of Light, and the Knight of Wands rushing back from home, or Gemini who couldn't wait to get out of there, or House of Love but have to get going. The Page of Pentacles reversed needing help to implement a plan, post-war or virus, with the Emperor reversed, with a message of love, the Page of Cups, or with an innocent one. Home sharing or being charitable with lover, or Gemini King of Swords reversed hanging out, or the King of Swords reversed unhappy, staying with the Queen of Swords upright, unable to deal with investing post-war, with the Emperor reversed, or as the Emperor reversed is unable to control their environment, with the Page of Cups upright around, and that can be a child or a pet, And that could be someone who has a pet from the other person that doesn't want a pet, or a child who's innocent. This could be a baby as well from a child, or this is the Emperor reversed, taking care of a baby, whether it's their own or their child's baby, or they're just in the house and they can't control their environment. Oh, and that can be why the swords got messed up, because a child or a pet messed them up, and they're an innocent, vulnerable one, so they can't get mad at them, right? So Sagittarius, Gemini, and Aries reversed, with Capricorn or Pisces upright, the foundation of the hanging man receiving big love from grieving twin, free from needing them. Siblings, besties, kids sending condolences, and or free with no need to choose. That the path is already all planned out for them. And again, the energy of someone going on a trip and liking those kind of trips where everything's already scheduled, so they don't have to do all those arrangements and they can just enjoy themselves and relax. The central energy of the solar deity reversed, being drained or sick or overexposed. Third party Queen of Wands reversed, perhaps powerless and moving on, or with dependent. The Knight of Wands upright, the wounded warrior, with kids or pets, or overindulgent friends always in the house, and maybe they're not yours. The challenge being the Queen of Cups drinking, or the Queen of Swords upright, dead tired of dissatisfied family or people at work, rising above a sister, or stress or suffering in silence or lack of sleep, in the never-ending story of energetic exchange, arrows of love, or back and forth communication or travel. With the Ace of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, with Leo reversed perhaps in their chart, or just their ego out of control, The challenge being the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords after death, wanting to offer new life to Queen of Pentacles reversed, who may be in need of attention, with the Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community of abundance, and the Page of Swords without a leg to stand on. A man with two lovers, receiving love offer from third party at a distance or in disconnect, dissatisfied alone and destined with no need for excuse here. The Page of Pentacles reversed, recovering, defenseless to the Queen of Swords, lover or Gemini, and the Queen of Cups upright, exposed with the Knight of Cups reversed, jealous or rejected and settling out. The Queen of Swords and the Queen of Cups both upright. They could be lovers or just friends or mother and daughter, or the Queen of Cups and Knight of Cups reversed, lovers, or Gemini upright and Leo upright with the Queen of Cups between them. Recovering at home and disconnect or at a distance, hanging out with the Empress reversed, or perhaps it's a mother who's ill, or who's not someone not very nice, or that could be a boss as well, who's a bit of a dictator. The High Priestess upright is upright, and those could be sisters too, with the Empress and the High Priestess. The High Priestess needing to call or swallow their pride, and home with the Knight of Wands upright, to the Ten of Cups reversed, unhappy family, with Capricorn and Pisces upright, but Taurus and Aquarius reversed. The Five of Wands upright, the Ace of Wands reversed, fighting sexual frustration, with the Magician reversed, or Gemini reversed and Scorpio upright, manipulating the Tower or drama in need of peace, to start over with the Emperor reversed, who may be weak and losing patience, with Leo reversed and Sag reversed, with out of control kids or pets, or losing patience and tired at night, with the King of Pentacles reversed, howling at the moon. So it feels like someone's just sick and tired of too many people in their space, in their house, their kids bringing their friends over, or just their kids and their partner taking over the space and not having respect for their space, or a kid bringing in children or babies or pets that mess up their stuff, and they don't care. They have no respect for their stuff. It's that kind of frustrated energy. With the 10 at 10 o'clock here is triple zeros behind the 1 of the Magician, or double zeros behind the 10 of Destiny, and that high vibe energy, where soon the King of Cups is upright, perhaps Libra or destined to work hard to be able to make a big offer, to Hermit, Knight of Swords upright, and the Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community upright, with the Page of Swords or message, recovering from or in prison, fighting the Page of Cups upright, or conflicted with them, where the King of Cups is upright and the Queen of Swords upright are destined, or the Queen of Swords upright is the King of Cups, unconditionally loving and working to offer Hermit, with the Knight of Swords and the Page of Swords recovering from exile of their family or prison for fighting. And I was watching another prison movie last night about the girl who was arrested in Peru for trafficking drugs. So there's definitely this stuff about young people getting put in prison. So somebody might have a child in prison and finally getting them out. But the Knight of Swords and Page of Swords recovering from exile of their family or in prison for fighting with the Page of Cups upright, or for abusing a child, or perhaps drug trafficking is coming up, or for abusing a child or a pet. Twin flames seeing themselves as the Two of Swords reversed, perhaps with clarity or new information or making a decision, but that can knock you off balance too. As the truth is given to the wounded warrior, Queen of Pentacles reversed, to make sure she is clear, letting go to fix things with the Queen of Cups upright, who may be overworking to get clarity, or things are just not working out or not working at all. With true love and separation, financial, career, and children, this could be the one, and keep an open mind. Around the twins are how they're seen as the Page of Pentacles reversed, in need of help, unable to manifest or get something off the ground, or they could be an opportunist and just expecting someone else to do it for them. Seeing synchronicities, a kid in the candy store of justice, wanting the mystery prize, but must be pure of heart to get it, or looking for justice or prisoner, or anxiety about being alone and dissatisfied with self. Healing with the Nine of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles reversed, the wounded warrior, who's ungrounded, and the Page of Pentacles reversed and the Nine of Cups reversed, which could be another child who's very dissatisfied with themselves, and the Queen of Cups, who could be a Libra. The block here being the Eight of Swords, the prison or the release, and hiding in the woods, after those exiled or sick and let back in, after failure, with rebirth, adventure, but even more so, music, which is also the muse of the inner child. The Knight of Pentacles, the humble loyal servant, offering something healthy to hang out for inspection or to be tied up for a while, or friendly hostage situation. And this could be someone offering help or asking somebody else to help them deal with this situation. The Chariot reversed on the warpath. The King of Cups walking away from the King of Wands reversed. No fairy tale here. With the Hermit recovering, perhaps Cancer reversed, maybe recovering from cancer or from a person. The King of Pentacles reversed at night, or with Cancer rising, versus the King of Wands reversed, where the King of Cups upright can't help them now. They have to do it on their own. The King of Pentacles and the King of Wands, both reversed, must battle to win. Perhaps childhood foes or brothers, broken and dissatisfied, where the Emperor reversed is offering a new life to the Empress reversed, and the King of Swords reversed, temptation of Capricorn, or sons taking sides in this split between the Emperor and the Empress, with the Emperor reversed and the Empress reversed, who could be the King and Queen of Pentacles both reversed, or the King and Queen of Wands both reversed. Probably the King of Wands reversed with the Page of Cups getting on their nerves, and the Queen of Swords upright, Gemini or twin, and the Page of Pentacles reversed could be held hostage or in jail until they pay back or get bailed. Only has one, but needs 6 more to get out or get a house or home. So they either need, so it's a child who's got 1 pentacle, but they're in need of 6 to get where they need to go. So whether it's to get out of jail or to leave home, that could be getting out of jail, or maybe they just need transportation to get home and they need to do it on their own. Or the King of Pentacles reversed is refusing to get them a car, but the Emperor reversed may pay the Empress reversed to make a deal with the devil or the car salesman behind the King of Pentacles reversed back. It's like the grandparents spoiling the child, going against what the father said. So the King of Pentacles reversed may be doing it behind his back. And I'm just getting that too, where I kept saying with the lady coming up to Lady Liberty or behind her back. And now it's behind the King of Pentacles back, reversed, so that the Page of Pentacles reversed can go between and help out. The inner child staying out of this, or the inner child staying out of this with the King of Wands reversed, the King of Pentacles reversed, and or the Emperor reversed. And this could be a father with 3 sons, where the one son's checking out from the family, leaving the other 3 to their own devices, the father and the other 2 sons. Paying the Empress reversed and the King of Swords reversed, who's swearing in perhaps, but could be lying on her behalf, or the devil incarnate is present here, and of course the devil lies, and maybe egging them on at 11:25, the alignment with the Knight of Wands. So we have the King of Wands, King of Pentacles, and the King of Swords, and the Emperor all reversed. The only king-like energy is the King of Cups that's upright here. At 11:26, which is the Page of Wands, with Strength reversed and the Hanging Man upright, being weak in perspective with new information and needing to invite the Queen of Swords, who's drained, challenged by the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups upright, but both imprisoned. The Hermit coming out of exile broken or with Cancer in their chart, no longer wanting to be alone, with the Emperor reversed, who makes a big offer to the Empress reversed and the King of Swords reversed, perhaps her devilish lawyer. All right, so that could be them in a divorce where the Empress has a devilish lawyer, and maybe the Emperor is at his wit's end. He doesn't want to do this anymore. He just wants to get done with it. So he finally stops fighting it and perhaps lets her have her way. The weak Queen of Swords with the King of Swords reversed, hanging out, overexposed, and challenged by the Queen of Cups upright, hanging or coming out of exile, with new information for the King of Cups, in need of help with driving perhaps, or getting the Page of Pentacles reversed, a car or a ride. And that could be two parents divorcing who need to deal with a child who may need a car, who's still at college or something like that, who needs to be able to get themselves back and forth. Or then one of them will have to buy them, it's this energy going back and forth between them. So there you go at 2:40:22. It's 1:07 on the other clock, which is the Magician and the Seven of the Chariot, or the Destiny of the Chariot, the feminine within the masculine. And 2:40:22 is the High Priestess, the Page of Cups, and the Fool. And it just went from 38 to 39, which is the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups. So the High Priestess, the Page of Cups, which can be the same person. That could be a Pisces energy. And the 22 is Aries, Fool. So Pisces and Aries were just coming up there. With the 1 and the 7, which is Gemini or Libra and Cancer. All right, so now we'll just pull a few oracle cards to see what's coming up. And yeah, I think I'm just going to do... I'm going to do a gem card again, because I was thinking about pulling a gem card for you guys earlier. So let's see. .108 on the clock now. I don't know why I have to bring up the next minute again, but that was important. It was just 2:41:42 as well. So the Ace of Cups and the Two of Cups. All right, so what is our takeaway from the read today? There's two cards coming up here. Yellow Jasper, which is control issues. Utilize your God-given strength and power instead of fearing that others may try to control you. Okay, so it's like letting go of the war and just allowing. And that was kind of the energies that were just coming up with a divorce type of energy. And then Azurite, deep emotional healing. Your heart's ready to heal from past experiences, and you're willing to devote time and energy towards therapeutic care as opposed to control and war, that kind of energy. So that's good. And Arizona was just coming up here too. So ASU, AZU, I like that. AZU right for deep emotional healing. And YE, allow Jasper. And that's also the Y is the 0 point, 1 equal and congruent to 2 L's, which is the Holy Grail, and the OU, which is the human co-creation of Jasper. So Jasper and Azurite, and I'm not really that familiar with either of those stones, so you might want to look them up if you want information about them. But it's very peachy and purples here. Moonstone wants to come out here too, of heightened intuition. Be extra aware of your inner knowingness as it's trustworthy as opposed to your thoughts. And the bottom of the deck here is Smoky Quartz, which definitely came up yesterday as well. Very gray. It's very pretty, the gray and the purples there. So that one's clearing negativity. So just clear negativity around you, release negativity from within or around you. So that could be Smoky Quartz for that. And Journey of Love. They're telling me no. They're telling me to do, that's weird. They're telling me to pull from the Ascension deck here. Okay, so let's see. Lord Kamika's there at the bottom, 42, which is I call Lord Kamika to enlighten and support me. But let's see what comes up with that. Our takeaway here. Okay, the Amethyst Skull, which again is Akashic Records, which we talked about with Cryon earlier. 21 is also completion, the world. During the olden era of Atlantis, each of the high priests and priestesses of the 12 fought of the 12 tribes, and that was coming up for December as well. And there's 12 and 21. The amethyst skull during the golden era of Atlantis, which this read was all about. Each of the high priests and priestesses of the 12 tribes fashioned a crystal skull that was an advanced computer and programmed it with knowledge and wisdom held by their tribe. All the information was placed into the amethyst master skull, which is kept safely in the inner plane. So again, there's that reference to the humans being seeded 200,000 years ago, and then being able to use that information by the time Lemuria came around 52,000 years ago. Receiving this card suggests you look for the highest perspective in a situation that presents itself to you. Explore the details, and when you have all the facts, take decisions with wisdom and integrity. And the affirmation being, I explore all the information before I take a decision. And I'm not going to read these, but these 3 cards want to come up, and the bottom is Hilarion, 46. So that's at 46 that came up 3 times in the cards. Okay, so that's the underlying energy of, I open myself to the wisdom and guidance of Hilarion, which is Saturn and Crete and the Temple of Truth. There's the temple again. And the master of the orange 5th ray of technology, science, truth, knowledge invites you to open your mind so you can drop seeds for new ideas. There's dropping of seeds again. Okay, so that's Hilarion. That's the underlying energy, 46, and that's the inner children as well. These 3 want to be seen as well as the amethyst skull. We have the gold and silver violet flame, which is the number 4 of the Emperor, which was coming up a lot. I am the gold and silver violet flame, so transmuting the energies. So gold and silver violet flame, but also is coming up the smoky quartz, and the cosmic heart, which is the 9 of compassion. It's also that top spiral, and I am the cosmic heart. Okay, coming up from Venus, the heart center of the universe, pure unconditional love, and the 9th dimensional frequency. To call in Mother Mary and or the unicorns, to step down this powerful but gentle love to a level that you can handle and bring it into your heart center. Breathe in love from the cosmic heart and radiate outwards to everyone today. Okay, so bring it in with Mother Mary or the unicorns if you need help directly connecting with Source, and or just the unconditional love frequency at Venus and 9th dimensional frequency. Okay, and we also have 21, 4, and 9, which is the Emperor and the Hermit, but also the 49 of that 9 of Cups that was coming up, and the completion of the 1221 here, and Christmas and 1221 coming up for us. And the partridge in a pear tree. And they want me to pull one of the past life deck cards too. Let's see here. All right, so this is Brian Weiss. So again, amethyst skull and the violet flame, gold and silver and violet coming up big. So purples, gold and silver, and the cosmic heart of compassion, of unconditional love, and the 46 of the inner children. To allow the seeds in. The Temple of Truth over Crete is coming up like the etheric altar over Lady Liberty. Okay. And Asia coming up. And the yellow is the solar plexus. And this is coming up upright. So let's see what else is coming up here. Can't take up too much. Yeah, there's a lot of cards that want to come out. The bottom of the deck is reversed. It's trust and faith. This is telling you that this has to do with past life wounds. And this being a wound of trust and faith, but it's reversed. Again, there's that energy of faith in angels, and there may be a block around that. Or you may have a block around people who don't trust or have faith. And there's a judgment energy there. But instead allowing everyone to travel their own path. And take that the way it comes to you as well. And again, there's that energy of Lady Liberty here. Right? And look, she's missing the flame in her hand. because how can we have trust and faith in what has taken our liberties away from us? Okay. It's like she's holding the book, because you can't really see what her hand's doing. It's like she's holding the book, but the flame of liberty has been taken away. Okay, and this is bringing the flame back. Through the arts is underneath that. The guitar and the piano are underneath that. With strings and keys, with instruments and keyboards or keys. So all these were coming out. We have the trees reversed. So again, this is a block regarding nature. And no longer having a block around nature, around finances, and no longer having, it's like going back to see how far you've come in your journey. Do you still have that same block around nature or money? How have you changed? You may still have a block around ships that you need to work on, about dying at sea. And look, there's the knives and the swords in the cabinet, the pristine ship, right? That can't be imperfect, it has to be perfect. You need to get over that perfect energy here to allow it. You can dream it, but you can't control others, right? You can manifest your perfection if you're really good at being present, but if you're in control of what other people are doing, you're not in that place to manifest something perfect. If you're God, you can manifest something perfect. So you can't expect others, like, little kids or pets, if they break something that was really important to you, you can't expect things from other people. You can only learn how to accept yourself for who you are, transmute those energies, go within when you feel polarized, step away from the situation, see the opposite side of the situation to bring it back toward the middle again. Remember who you are and what's important to you, right? Are the children in your life important to you, or is that thing more important than the child? And for some, it may be the thing, and that's okay. You shouldn't judge yourself, but be honest with yourself. And then here we have Greco-Roman. We've dealt with that stuff, and still maybe dealing with weight issues, food and hunger from starvation. There's a lot of people who have been through a lot of starvation in the past. So just bringing up some stuff that you might still need to clear. And we're getting Asia too. So you need to clear Asia. You've done great with nature and finances. But again, there's going to be more financial changes, but they want you to see how far you've come regarding your issues with these things, and that it's no problem because you know how to do it. You need to deal with some Asian wounds, and again, regarding confidence and solar plexus and Buddha. And again, the discipline of being told what to do, right? There's a wound there. Right, of being a servant and not being allowed to have your own perspective, right? Having to cover yourself in a certain way, having to dress a certain way. There's a lot of things that are coming up with Asia here, whether it's religion, it's just freedoms, right? The freedoms of having to do what the government tells you to do. How many children you can have, right? A lot of things are coming up from Asia. So Asia, ships, and food and hunger may be some really good areas that you can feel into for wounding and clearing. So starvation, perfection, and Asia. Okay, I hope that was helpful for you guys. It was for me, for sure. It was just 53 to 54, which is the Knight of Swords and the Page of Swords again. So remember to breathe. I'm still feeling stress. There's a lot of collective stress, or perhaps you're feeling stress from your twin, if you are a twin. And then it's 1:20 on the clock. It just went to 1:21. So 1:20 is the zero source energy backing up the 12, again, of completion of the 1-2 of the masculine feminine, which adds up to the 3. And then we have 1-2-1 now, which is the 2 1s with the 2 in the middle, as we started off with the word church, right, with the 2 pillars, and you 2 in the middle, like intuition, the twin towers of you and I in connection. Okay? So remember to breathe. Remember your water, your rest, your joy, and your nature. To be good to yourself and just allow. Rise and be love, you guys. Love and rise. Breathe. It's all in the eyes, the I am. Bye, guys.